The super chat from Bob real quick. Bob with the $5 super chat says, just like men quietly admire the teen that sleeps with the teacher, so men quietly get a sense of relief of watching what happens to the mom. Go ahead, SBU. What say you about this situation?
It's a very sad situation.
Mm.
Chaotic. Just looking at the video that you have, if I'm going to judge this in any way, I'm going to judge it where the crime actually started. And just from that video you're playing, it seems like he was the initiator of the offense, the actual crime. Now, I've been hearing that was some text messaging that she did prior, I guess prior to this, that told her young son to get the weapon out of the vehicle, and I'm assuming bring it to her. And I think that I'm just giving her the benefit of a doubt. That might have been her intentions, to bring the weapon to me, because I don't think she anticipated this actual fight like this. But just judging when the criminal, intentions actually started, I would say that the young man was definitely in the right to start shooting at this young man, because he went in on his mama. I don't know what she said, but what I hate to see the most is that men are in here just running out instead of stepping in. If they don't have to defend this woman per se, but de-escalate the situation. Why just could have saved the man's life. A 14-year-old boy that probably has no knowledge of how to actually use a weapon. And I've been hearing that he just emptied or wouldn't stop shooting at the young man. So what happened, Chaotic, probably was he went way past the limit, as in the threat being gone, and then continued to empty the weapon, probably all 15 rounds or whatever type of weapon he had. So that would be why he's now being charged, or now in jail. I don't know what the text message said that the mom actually sent to him, but I would think if she was, a concealed carry, that meant that she had the right to have a weapon. And if someone has a right to have a weapon, then they know the law. So if she wanted him to bring that to her because she may have seen or felt the energy rising or what have you, then yeah. But if she told him in that text message, come in here and blast him, then that's totally different. Mom is going to be responsible for what she told her son to do. But look at the way this man is beating on his woman and the men running out. This didn't have to go this far. I understand a lot of times men don't want to protect women anymore for all the different reasons. I get it. But understand this, it does not pay for a woman and a man to engage with each other. This man, he didn't know this was going to be the last day. He had no idea. I tell men all the time, I get you all don't want to take up for women anymore, but you got to restrain them in some way instead of beating on them or doing whatever he did, because it doesn't end well. Sometimes they go to prison for a very long time, domestic abuse, all these different things. And this man right here is dead. For what?
Real quick, Savage with the $5 super chat says, even in self-defense, you can still be the aggressor. She can be charged for improper use. And Roland says the consecutive shots were more necessary than the initial. Allowing the wounded to escape to possibly retrieve his gun could have been their undoing. Oh, good point. Let me get Corin in real quick. Corin, did that 14-year-old boy do the work of the Lord, or what say you, sir? You're on mute.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course, somebody did that to your mother, you'll shoot him too. He had no right. He had no right beating a woman like that. You know what I'm saying?
What if it was his father?
But I don't know why. What makes women think he's wrong? He's dead wrong. Y'all are right. Everybody's right. He's dead wrong for that. And he had a death wish and he didn't know it. You know what I'm saying? But this woman, I don't know why women argue with men and they know they can't beat them. That's what I don't get. You know what I'm saying? A woman need to stay in her place, be like, I know I can't beat this guy. You know what I'm saying? So her talking aggravated him, and it would any man. Like, why don't she just get her food?
Hey, get your food. Get your food.
Right. He was telling her, just get her food. And she fed into the argument. She kept arguing. And now her son, he's going for murder. You know what I'm saying? because it happened. The way I see it, it happened after the fact. You know,
After
he ran after he beat her. The shooting happened after he beat her when he ran out the store, right or wrong. So that's what they in jail for.
The crime, right?
Right, because it happened after the fact. Now, if he would have came with that gun and was beat, while he was beating his mother, if he would have came with that gun and started shooting, then he wouldn't even probably went to jail. You know what I'm saying? Because that was self-defense.
Let me read the super chat real quick, Corey, and then I'm gonna let you finish. Juan with the $5 super chat says the 14-year-old was the only man in the room, defended his mom or family. Young man has a mom still. Bob with the $5 super chat says ratchet women have an incredible amount to take a punch. Oh my God, Bob.
Why?
Savage says they can still charge the boy for having a gun.
Yeah.
Under 21. Go ahead, Corey. You got the
why wasn't he in the store with his mother?
He was in the car rolling some weed. Go ahead.
See what I'm saying? Could have
been any.
There's no reason. It's no reason that he shouldn't have. If I was with my mother out like that, I would have been in the store with her.
So, Corey, let me ask you a question.
Because stuff like that always jumps off.
Oh, let me get a super chat real quick, Corey. Damn, you guys are coming through with the super chats. The CKJ with the $5 super chat says, if it is true, she texted her son. She had enough time to get the gun herself. The guy was wrong, but I would not have my wife at Whitmore's that late. Whitmore's? Oh, CKG. I know where that's at. But see, there's no duty to retreat in Illinois. So CKJ, she could have literally texted her son and say, go get that gun. She doesn't have to retreat because this savage is bothering her. Isaiah with the $2 super chat says, a tragedy. We lost a good man, an innocent victim. Shut up.
So let me ask you a question. Did he stop beating her? He actually stopped fighting her?
He ran out.
Well,
that's after he got shot. That's after he got shot. He was hitting her. He was hitting her, and he got shot in the back as he was hitting her, and then he retreated, and then the son chased him down, shot him again in the back, and that's
they didn't say that. I thought I heard a shot.
This is the perfect reenactment of an Adam and Eve right after the fall. Go ahead, Corey, and SB, go ahead.
No, my bad then, because I thought that he got shot while he was running, they say. Well, he was running.
Supposedly, so he got shot in the store while he was punching his mom. So he was giving his mom that Mortal Kombat Liu Kang piece, and the boy shoots him. He starts running, and then supposedly, I didn't see that part of the video, but he shoots him while he's running.
CT, I can read from Chicago 5. I can read what they say here. This is from NBC 5 Chicago. It says Hood texted her son and had him come to the restaurant as the argument turned physical. Prosecutors said Brown punched Hood in the head, and Hood's son took out a gun and shot Brown in the back, they said. Brown ran from the store as Hood's son allegedly continued to fire at him. The teen and his mother followed Brown into the parking lot where she told her son to keep shooting Brown and to kill him, prosecutors said. When the teen stopped shooting, his mother allegedly told him to shoot Brown's girlfriend and then tried to take the gun from her son.
Yes.
The teen pushed his mother away and both left in a car and drove home together.
Crazy Chick Sheena with the $5 super sticker. Thank you so much. Savage says she can be charged for telling him to bring the gun. Yes, because he's underage.
Right.
SB,
right.
Go ahead. And Amber, yeah.
No, just to hear all that extra, she was controlling the situation. Sounds like to me.
Yeah.
But
they need to lock her up.
Like you sick a pit bull.
Yeah, but I still think the moment that the crime started to happen, I think they were actually justified. Even the son to make sure his mother was out of danger. Because I think, in North Carolina, you can defend someone else from harm. You don't have to be the individual involved. So if another individual is in an environment, I don't know about Chicago, and you feel like their life is in danger, a third party can defend that person. Now, whether it's 15.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, the age I'm not sure about. The fact that, that it was her son and she told him to get the gun and things of that nature, I don't know about. But I do know that you can defend other people if there's a threat of life or, a life and death threat. A third party can't defend them.
If I may,
Hold on for 1 second. Hold on for a second. Here for the team with the $5 super chat says, I would have left after dude threatened to knock me out. I'm not going to put that kind of pressure on my 14-year-old son. I can agree with that. I think we all can agree with that. Carlo with the 15 Canadian dollars says, the community be catching L's this week. Can the next generation be improved or are they simply doomed? Who else was next? Okay, so we have not America's First Rifleman. He wasn't next. It was Roz Girl was next. Go ahead, Roz Girl.
Hey, chaotic. I like everybody's opinions, and I definitely agree with SB. I think it's unfortunate, but I feel like that man got everything he deserved. Definitely, yeah. He lost his life and he should have lost his life. I mean, or if the boy shot him and he's paralyzed, whatever, but he got everything he deserved. He got a man who was protecting a woman that was important in his life at that time. And it's unfortunate that women are not protected like that anymore. It's unfortunate that the men that was in there with them turned their backs and walked off, didn't intervene during the altercation at any time. You see no man doing anything. Myself, 8 brothers, 4 uncles. I don't have any time to be arguing with a man, but I know that when it escalates to a point that I can't handle, I need to call somebody up. And whether I call the cops or one of my family members, the men that protect me, I'm going to have to call them. But I am also smart that I don't engage them in things that, miscellaneous shit, relationship shit, or just, beef on the street. But the thing is that at that time, that boy saw his mom possibly dying. He didn't know what was going to happen. Regardless if she called the dogs or not, he saw his mom being assaulted. And we don't know if she's a single mom or if she got a husband. Because the husband could have had that son at home and said, boy, what did you do when you saw your mom get hit? I'm raising you better than this. You're supposed to defend her. What? I don't understand what the men on the panel are talking about. It doesn't matter those circumstances. She was supposed to be protected. And a man emotional like that should not be walking on the street. That's why they're in jail. That's why they're in mental asylum places, because they can't handle their emotions. So she's standing there and she's speaking. She doesn't put her hands on him, and he puts her hands on him. Men are supposed to be stoic, and women are supposed to be able to contain themselves emotionally at that time. She did that. But in fear, when I think that my life is in danger, I need to call somebody who is here with me, who's going to help me. And that's what I see. And if they're in jail, it might be overzealous prosecutors. If they're in jail because she called the dogs, I'm going to take that charge. But I'm not about to lose my life because I got a family to raise, whatever my circumstances are.
Only thing I disagree with is that I would not call my child into potential danger. I cannot wrap my head around knowing that there could be shit go down and have my baby come towards it. If anything, I don't give a fuck about my life as long as my child is okay. That I just cannot wrap my head around.
CT, I'm going to make it real quick. I got to respond to that.
Real quick, Ross Girl and Amber, I got to penalize you guys for the swear jar. It's just $10, but I love you guys. I love you, Roz. It's just $10 for the swear jar. Bob with the $2 super chat says, so they just went home and were safe. Savage says she got what she deserved. He got what he deserved. Men are not going to take charges for women that don't respect them. We gotta. But before you say anything, Afro Nerd, I just want to go around to everybody real quick. Soap Club. You're next, sir. Go ahead.
Well, I'd be willing to yield my time, or rather trade slots with Little King. He said he wanted to be quick and he's got to run to work. So if that's okay, I'd like to trade places.
No. Stop it. You sound like a white guy. So are you white? Soap Club?
Yes, sir.
Negroes are never quick. So, sorry, you got the floor. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, my first thought on that was in direct disagreement with the man being shot as he was leaving, because he had already been shot. And I believe that shooting him after that was in a spirit of wrath. And that's to be expected from a boy that's seeing his mom being beaten by a strange man.
Mm-hmm.
That's to be expected. And the way I see it is he had that temptation to use the gun himself because she didn't have it on her.
Go ahead.
And the biggest problem there is the level of discernment, or the lack of discernment, because he's a child. He's 14 and in Illinois, in Chicago, so he's got to be grown up quick. But that's not a good environment for someone to develop a discernment regarding violence. Very heightened emotions, very impulsive reaction of the same kind. And it just I believe it continues the cycle for anything to be said that would excuse the result of his behavior. Now, what he did was heroic, but I don't believe he was a hero. The man that was beating his mom was a piece of trash and wasting a lot of oxygen, and was definitely a threat to at least the people in that store, and most likely a threat to society in general.
Keep it real.
When that 14-year-old boy got a hold of that gun, being surrounded by that environment, feeling that power in his hand, was not able to resist the temptation to assert himself with it or let's say over assert himself with it while the man was running away. He had already been shot once, and there's a good chance he could have died from that wound.
Yep.
But going overboard like that is just excessive, and I believe it came from a spirit of wrath. But I don't believe that boy should be charged to any full extent of the law. But I do believe that the mother should, because she had a concealed carry permit and should have known better.
Yep.
Well, also he's a minor. He's a minor, so I think that's going to play.
Okay. Afro Nerd, I rock with you, Afro Nerd. You gotta stop cutting me off, man. So that's a $10. That's a $10 fee for you as well. Rashu with the $5 super chat says the rat needs the honorable mention. He's the real MVP. Oh yeah. Did y'all see that disgusting rat?
I did. I saw the big black rat.
With the 7 Canadian says instead of texting the son to roll up with a gun, why didn't she use that interval to remove herself from the situation instead? Because she doesn't have to, in my opinion. Nick Tao Javon with the $5 super chat says, where did she find the time to text her son while in the middle of getting the Lil Reese Chirac 300 combo? What's going on, Lil K? You can go ahead, sorry. Then I got to get Rifleman in. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be real quick, but I just want to say, you see the behavior that the lady displayed as far as texting her son. That's very wrong, and you guys had some dope points, but you see stuff like what Security Boy said and the other lady, I think Rosger, this type of shit, like, this type of stuff like that causes this type of behavior in the environment.
Lil Ken, you know I rock with you, man.
But Chaotic, I wanted to hear what he said. What did he say to cause behavior?
Lil King, but I got to get you up out of here, Lil King.
I did say excuse me. I apologize. It was a slip of the tongue. But it's just because, like, for these women to say that, oh, it's heroic and the kid did something great, like, at the end of the day, we this is why the men are emasculated and female is weak, because at the didn't have a gun, and yeah, he's crazy. He did some wild stuff. He's wrong. But hey, you got a young boy right there. Hey, come whoop his ass or something like that. Hey, come stand in the store. Make sure I get out of here. Say something like that. Not grab my pistol. And for you women to sit here and agree with that, that just goes to show, like, you ladies don't care about young boys and their future. This kid is I mean, while he's sitting in that jail cell and he's going to lose his life to the justice system, he's gonna just think like, damn man, why my mom tell me to do that?
Okay, so I don't think you heard.
No. I heard you very loud and clear. And I don't know. I
never
understand.
said
I understand we
anything
all have our
about.
own. Hey, look, I don't understand. We have our own opinions, and that was just my input on the matter. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate that. I'm still.
I would rather you judge me on what I said. I never said anything about this young man being heroic. I said where the crime actually began, the young man had a right to go out and get a weapon and defend his mom. That's what I said. I think it was a sad thing that he had to be involved completely. If she actually told him to do that, then that's wrong. But if a young man is seeing his mom being beat the way that boy, the young man was beating his mom, all the other men that were of age, what I did see that they ran out. It shouldn't have had to be a good fight at all. And it actually wasn't. There should have been somebody that could have de-escalated the situation. And I say that again. I said the first time also. I wish that somebody could have de-escalated the situation with, stop y'all, man, let it go or something. I don't know what either party was being said or even what it was about. But when there's a crime, there is a right to defend that. And it was very offensive that he would just beat his mother that way. Again, it's not okay for men to just beat on women. It's not okay. They lose every time. Listen, that woman didn't jump on that man. Now, if she would have jumped on that man, then we could say all day long, okay, this man was defending himself when he actually hit her back. And I would be like, you're right. He definitely was. She was all day wrong. Her verbally getting, I don't even know because I didn't hear it exactly, but she getting loud with him, her getting loud with him and him. I don't know anything about that. That's not what I saw on CT's video. Now, if that happened, then again, that's emotional stuff. That's our feelings. That has nothing to do with the crime. We have to base on what was the crime. And the crime started with him hitting her point blank. And if it would have been reversed, it would have been the same thing. If she would have started hitting him and he came out and shot her, what do y'all think would have happened? Would have been like, would men be here today saying, well, she sure deserved it because she should have left him alone? Would that
be in jail, security boss?
No, what I'm saying, would that be what we would be saying though? She sure should have left him alone. He should have shot her. Really? Does that make sense?
Hey, so this is what I mean, security boss. Hey, look, as men, it's win, lose, or draw. That little young man, he's 14 years old. His life is fucking
It's messed up. I got you. I understand that. And I said that. That's the very first thing I said. But we also are pretending that maybe, and I don't know this either, but I do know we adapt to our environment. And a 14-year-old in North Carolina is not going to be the same 14-year-old in Chicago. So the fact that he handled a weapon and knew what to do with it, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I said he might have been fearful. That's why he continued to shoot. I don't know this, but pushing his mom away and she telling him to shoot the girlfriend and all of that was way too much. And that's why they're in jail right now. That's exactly why they're in jail. They went too far.
I got some super chats to read real quick. Give me 1 second. It's a lot of super chats coming through. Give me a second, guys. Thank you so much, SBU. Isaiah with the $2 super chat says, can we all admit that the attacker got what he deserved? Ooh, I already said it. CKJ with the $5 super chat says his action was from being raised by a single. We don't know if she's a single mother though. CKJ, single mother, and the single mothers put their sons in terrible situations. This goes for the male, adult, and minor. Jordan with the $5 super chat says, right or wrong, legal or not, morally this is, morally that. The reason she should have just left is because her and her son are sitting in jail. Now, Juan with the $5 super chat says, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt me. I want to ask the ladies a question on the panel, Rise Girl, Amber, and SBU. Why do these Negroes in the chat keep going back to single mothers? We don't know if this lady was a single mother. Why do they keep talking about this to the ladies in the chat? I mean, to the ladies on the panel, Roz Girl, Amber, and Security Boss.
I don't really know, because I happen to think even if there was a father involved, it wouldn't have changed the situation. I think his father would have taught him to defend his mom also.
I mean, it's consistent. Amber? It's consistent in these YouTube streets, these same talking points. You know, as soon as they see a black woman do something, oh, she's a single mom, she's this. So I think it's just the same lame, tired, foundational talking points instead of dissecting the situation and human being as it should be.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's the talking point. They feel that single moms are a detriment to the black male, but there are plenty of single moms that have raised great black males in society. So I just feel like that's where they're coming from. And we don't know if she's a single mom. There could have been a father in the home, and if you're raised with the father and involved in a good father, then he's teaching his son to protect his mother.
She could be a widow for all we know. Bob with the $5 super chat says, I feel like a Catholic watching an abortion clinic getting blown up. It's wrong for the person to do it, but you know. Savage, real quick, go ahead. Then Afro Nerd, go ahead.
Okay. So everything you guys are saying is based on emotion. It's not based on the way the law works. Even if you have a right to defend yourself as a convicted felon, if I take your gun from you and shoot you in self-defense, I can still get charged for the gun because it's weapons under disability.
Yep.
So her being a concealed carry and her not having her gun and her son having her gun, that's a crime for her. 1. 2, him being underage and having a handgun that he's not allowed to have is a crime. So even if he shot the dude dead cold when he was punching his mom, they can still be charged. When you're in a self-defense, you're supposed to eliminate a threat. As soon as dude ran, under the law, the threat was gone. Even if we both agree he's going to get a gun, even if there's 10 dudes around the corner he's going to get, it does not matter. Once he flees and you start shooting, it becomes a new engagement and you become the aggressor. So it's just like if you get in a bar fight and you punch a dude and he punches you and you punch him and he goes down, you are in self-defense. But as soon as you stand over top of him and just pummel his face for 10 minutes while he's on the ground, you are now the aggressor, even though the start of this was based in self-defense. The law doesn't care about all these extra things. It's the way the law is written. So he's going to get charged for the gun because it's a federal crime. She's going to get charged for improper use of her firearm. Just that alone. Even if the jury decides I'm not going to put this boy away, they still committed crimes in this situation. That's just how the law works. It's not about emotion. It's the way it's written.
Bob and Savage, you are absolutely right, Savage, in that sense. Particularly what you were saying with having weapons under disability. If you have a felony under your record, you're correct. Even if you were in the right, you can still get charged. Bob, you are an asshole for this one. Bob says, yeah, sure she was married for 30 years, drove a minivan, baked cookies, and shopped at Bed Bath & Beyond. Come on, Bob. Let me see another. Rod with the $2 super chat says, show us your face, Amber. White's voice. Amber's cammed up before. Does anybody want to broach? I'm sorry, Afro Nerd, do you want to broach Savage, or what did you want to do, sir? Because Savage made a good point. Oh, let me unmute you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm not really disputing what he's saying on as far as the logistics and the legality of it. My issue is, I long for the days from what Security Boss is talking about, and also Roz Girl. But I'm a little perturbed because there is this sliding scale for gender roles that we don't want to talk about, and this whole thing about rushing in to save the day, those days are over. You have jurists that don't know what Supreme Court jurists who can't answer who a woman is.
That is true.
So all of these things are mixing up the situation now. So now you want us to do the traditional thing and yet women are not traditional. And I have seen CT. Let's keep it 1,000. We're seeing black women busting caps. That if their car is stolen, they will get you. I've seen black women, and not just black women, but black women with Herculean strength, who are, if a boyfriend did them wrong, they will lift a car bumper and kill them. This is true. This is on YouTube.
I've never seen that.
Well, you can see it on YouTube. There's a woman that was angry with a boyfriend who was messing around, and she ran him over, and she took the car bumper while this man is bleeding out. She also threw the car bumper on him. So you want me to go in and protect a woman like that? No, sirree. Those days are over. So we have to stop this. And also with Ross Girl's passion, the sliding scale. How am I supposed to be able to protect you when a hair follicle joke also elicited the same passion last year, where the whole Academy Awards exploded? Black women, you got to stop this stuff. Hold on, let me finish. On one scale, someone's mother's getting threatened, and I understand that, and I have a visceral reaction to it. But then another thing happens where a mild joke, then also Will Smith did the right thing. He protected her too. So we're protecting you from hair follicles, and we're protecting you from what? Where is the linchpin? How do we fit into that? We have to have an honest discussion. Something is wrong.
Well, we do have to have an honest discussion.
Before you answer it, it's too many. It's a lot of super chats coming out. Too many. Nick Tao with the $2 super chat says, single moms are an easy scapegoat for poor decisions. Okay. Let me see. And CKJ with the $5 super chat says, all the signs point to single mother. She didn't call or text her husband. Her son is her husband. That's why she was out that late getting hood. Go ahead, SBU.
I was just getting ready to say he's right, but again, you have to care. You have to make a decision on what type of woman you're dealing with, or if you can de-escalate the situation. There are a lot of traditional women out there that don't deserve to be beaten at the restaurant or what have you. Or how about this manhood, let's get together and take this young man out of here, because guess what? A young man is dead. Whether you, excuse me, chaotic, deleted, whether you care or not, or whether it's about the woman or not. A young man has been deleted, and it shouldn't have happened. And if you're going to give the excuse it happened because this woman was running her mouth, that is not a good reason for this man to lose his life. When someone could have de-escalated the situation, or possibly tried to de-escalate the situation, and he could have had another day. So we do have to come to some conclusion. Like you said, maybe it's a sliding scale. I don't know. But just to say all women or no women or what have you need to be, we need to stand back and just look at the situation happen. That's not how it should be. That's not how it should be at all. Let's have a serious conversation about it. Now, the example you gave, the extreme you gave, how you gonna jump in front of a car and keep this woman from running over her man in a parking lot with the bumper? You were not supposed to. You just call the police. That's all you can do. I'm just judging this situation as we saw right here. If she had enough time to text, which again, we didn't see this on this video, but if all that went on, that means that they conversed back and forth for at least a minute. If you saw this or heard this, maybe you could have, I'm just not you in general, but maybe someone could have just spoken to the man and be like, hey, look, let's keep it walking. But see what it is we love that type of drama. We love that type of chaos, and we live for it. Most of the time, instead of running, we be sitting there watching exactly what they were doing and allowed it to get out of control instead of being that traditional man and be like, look, come on, let's just go. Let her get her food. You can come back in a second and get yours, or talking to her, hey, let you get, and then just misdirecting it or have it go a different direction. If we care, we'll do that. But if you don't care, I understand. Because I would do the same thing for a man. If I saw a woman that I knew that was out of control and would try this man, I would say, look, come on, let's go to the elevator. I wouldn't let that woman just attack that man because she's a woman. I'm trying to get him out of that situation just as fast because it's not going to work out.
Isn't it fair to say, isn't it fair that all of us believe that this situation could have been 4 or 5 different ways this whole entire situation could have been prevented? Whether them not going back and forth, her walking away, maybe a guy intervening while they're arguing, her letting him cut the line to get the food. All of this could have been prevented. So while we're blaming the black woman and single motherhood and the black man and the ghetto and the monkey, all of this could have just been prevented if one person just walked away.
Well, I just said,
Yeah,
I want to say one thing.
Let me read the super chat real quick. It's a lot of super chats coming in, guys. Thank you so much. Your sports not with the $5 super chat says, I think if she controlled her mouth or left the whole situation, it could have been avoided. Why keep provoking? Clearly a crazy man. I partially agree with that. SB, what do you think about this? Amber, what do you think about this?
Absolutely. But you can't make somebody be quiet. You can't make, but guess what? You can't make her shut up.
I have a thought on that.
I think if she controlled her mouth and left the whole situation, could have. Well, that's why I go back to, I wish she would have more situational awareness.
If she ain't had no gun, would she have done that?
Savage with the $2 super chat says traditional women wouldn't be there. Ooh, let me ask the women this real quick. Let me ask this question because this is for women, right? Roz Girl, Amber, security boss. Me as a man, I'm pretty sure like most men, we always say women shouldn't be certain places at certain times, but you're free to do what you want to do. SB, I'm pretty sure you've been in Midtown at 1 o'clock in the morning partying before back in the day. Let's be honest. No, you're not in Atlanta. That's right. You're not in Atlanta. I'm sure. I keep thinking you're in Atlanta. But
I don't typically go out with my husband, especially at night. Without my husband, especially at night, I don't.
Well, I said back in the day.
You mean before I got married?
Before you got married, yeah, back in the day. Before,
okay, of course, yeah.
Before you got married, okay.
Yeah.
So Amber, Roz Girl, what do you guys think about this comment here? I think this is a misogynistic thing that Savage said, but go ahead. What do you think?
I mean, for me, I typically am not out unless I have, a shoot or a gig or something to produce. But typically, I go from the gig and I go home. I'm not in any restaurant or spot after pretty much 9, 10 o'clock unless I have to be. But no, I go straight from my car and I go home. I am not. It's situational awareness. I wouldn't honestly be in that neighborhood. If I wanted something to eat and it was late and I'm coming home from a job, I typically go through a drive-through where it's lit up. Like you just, I'm still I love Chicago. I rep Chicago. Excuse me, but I'm not oblivious to my surroundings. That's why my dad tells me, my boyfriend tells me, keep your head on a swivel. I'm walking around with equipment. Amber, if I'm leaving, like for example, if I'm leaving a photography job, I typically have one of the gentlemen walk me to my car because I'm walking to my car with $1,000 worth of equipment. It's just as a woman, you just gotta move smartly. It's just smarter. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
Roz Girl.
Yeah, it is misogynistic, but traditional women still have things to do or whatnot. Like I said, she probably had a husband at work or at home, but I feel that a woman who's protected is going to have a man at bay, whether she has to call him on the phone or he's he's going to know her whereabouts. So but in regards to what Afro Man said about women wanting men to be traditional and this and that, and the times have changed, I understand that the times have changed, but for me, there are just things that you're raised with, respect and morals and things. Those things shouldn't change at all over time. Once again, I feel like what happened was completely justified. In regards to the Will Smith thing, I wasn't a woman who agreed that what Will Smith did was great. I thought that it was very, very emotional of him to be that provoked at what a man said in words to get up there and slap him. Once again, the same situation with this man and this woman. He was in her face talking to her crazy, and whatever she was saying, he could not take, and he punched her. Same thing with Will Smith. I wasn't in agreement with that either. The fact is that someone should have stepped in and someone should have intervened. And if men are supposed to be protecting us, if men are supposed to be leading, it was plenty of men in that back shot. It was men in behind there, the store owner, the manager, somebody somebody could have said, hey, take this up out of here. But the fact of the matter is somebody's dead. He should be dead, injured, or something, because what he did was totally unacceptable. And like I said, women are out. There are some women out here who have men to protect them. And there are times when men don't think that women have a man at home, don't think that women have a brother or something like that. It's sad that it was her 14-year-old son, but he was emotionally driven. Like, he saw his mom possibly dying. There's no other situation from that. And you would hope that the law could see that differently. And if they don't, once again, that is something that he's going to have to deal with and his mom is going to have to deal with. But it's unfortunate that they were in this situation where people can abrasively abuse you and bystanders look at it and cheer it on, opposed to intervening and trying to de-escalate something.
To the ladies on the panel, I'm sorry, you want to broach that real quick, Amber?
You know, the thing is, as you know, I was raised by my father. I have a 14-year-old son. I've always, you know, tried to move smarter, but I've always felt protected. However, I have to acknowledge, for the men, any given time a man is doing what they're supposed to do by defending a woman's honor, that could cost him his life. You don't know what he doesn't know what he's stepping in. Say if it's a complete stranger, woman's getting beat, and he's doing his manly duty and stepping in. He don't know if that man, if he's going to go home to his family that night. So I do understand the hesitancy and the pressure men feel too. At the same time, I would tell my son, you know, my son is a big guy, but I would tell my son to assess the situation, because I don't want my son getting hurt, injured, or killed defending somebody he's not coming home to me. So I understand both sides.
I do too. I understand both sides, but that's still, if you care, we got to care enough about each other. Do you approach the woman or do you approach the man? She could have been being a bad butt, I'm gonna call it like that, a bad butt, aggressive, or what have you. So does that third party, you know, approach the man and say, look, she ain't worth it, today ain't got to be like this? Or do you try to approach her? If you're a man, you approach him and be like, come on, let's just keep moving, instead of just letting it play out and then this man losing his life. Because that's what happens. We just sit back and watch, you know, and then blame her for being overly aggressive and running her mouth, and which is wrong. She shouldn't do it. But
nobody fought.
Bob says, date white women. Ladies, what do you think about this one?
Bob is out of control.
Stupid
But
comments,
you look at the video,
man.
but in all fairness too, because I looked at the video multiple times. When he punched her, it happened so fast, and then you hear the shot. And I'm not defending or saying the guys are right or wrong for not stepping in, but if you see, he punch, shot. Like, I don't think it was even enough time for the guys, if they wanted to really intervene, because it happened so fast. So
I was speaking about the part where we've been told that there was some texting going on prior.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. In that video, absolutely no time to do anything. But I thought maybe there was some time before, at least a minute or two, where there was some texting or there was a building process to this whole, you know, I don't know, because I didn't see it. That's just what I've been hearing, that there was some time prior to where she had enough time to text. And, you know, we went from 0 to 100 in some time, you know, it wasn't immediate, but I don't know.
Do you think that this would have happened? I'll bring you guys up in a minute. Just hang tight, guys. Hang tight in the back for me, okay? Bob says, date white women. Do you think white women would not put their sons in these types of positions in public?
They absolutely would. There's Karen. Karen put herself in that type of situation.
I was about to say, Karen has a whole new. Karen is a way of being to label.
Karens typically don't have kids with them, but okay, you're saying that a white Karen would this happened with a Karen with a kid around them.
It would have been either her child or her husband. I've seen Karen and her husband pull out guns at the same time. At the same time, eliminating the threat. Karen and her husband work together.
And let's be real chaotic. I'm sorry, SB. Every race, nationality has its label. So you say you call it what you call Boquitas or Shaniquas, chaotic, and then the white community has the Karens, and every community has that archetype. Okay. Nobody's absolved from that. Let's just keep it a buck.
Okay. Savage says men are tired of getting their life screwed up for women that don't respect or give them gratitude. Remember, women need men like a fish needs a bite. What do you ladies have to say about this? I think this is very good having the women's only panel real quick. Go ahead.
Well, I think women and men both need each other.
I agree.
I agree too.
And that came from God. That came from God.
From God, okay.
Yeah, God did it.
Let me see.
In regards to if it would have happened to a white person, I mean, like, to me, I we don't see many of those situations, or we don't know about that, but like, everyone is saying she put her son's life in danger. We don't really know that. If it was a home invasion or something, and you calling your kid and you being assaulted or something, and you calling your kid and they running out with a gun or running out with a bat or something to protect you, like they were trying to protect their parents. Like, I don't see it. I just would hope that it would be justified, white or black.
CT, let me say this too. It seems like, I don't know for sure, of course, and maybe to come out later, but it seemed like this fella might have been like, kind of harassing automatically, like this type of person. I mean, because was he really arguing about her getting her food before him? Was that really?
SB, I'm 38 years old, and I said this earlier on in my monologue. First of all, a place like that, you already are asking for trouble. I mean, you saw the rat.
I did.
Across you're already asking for trouble. Yeah. It's in the ghetto. It's in the inner city. It's hood. The fact of the matter is that this guy, he's dressed like a teenager. He's probably high on weed. It is Chicago.
Shut up.
It's Chicago. We already know. He's probably a part of some gang or something. Probably he's a gang banger, more than likely. He's looking for trouble. He's paranoid beyond belief. The woman may have spoken to him or said something. Maybe it was something as simple as he's chilling with his girl on his phone, and maybe the boy's mother walked past him because he wasn't in line, and I'm in line, man. You cut me. And I think it has something to do with something as simple as that. She said, you got to get off your phone. And then, Negroes typically, SB, you're a superior black, so you probably don't know about this, but I've been around these types of blacks, and they don't know how to de-escalate situations. So something as minute as a cutting in the line on accident can lead to death. And so this is where you get, he already came out the house with an attitude. He already came out the house with, I'm going to get into something. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to get into something. And that's how a lot of these blacks are, SB. And people think I'm trolling, but SB, you know who David Attenborough is?
No, tell me.
He did National Geographic. Remember like the voice, like that Englishman's voice in the National Geographic?
Mm-hmm.
That's me with Negroes. I've always been an observer of Negro culture. So that woman, she's probably a good mother. She's probably a good person. She's like, hey, listen, you were on your phone. You can see her talking to him, but see, you can't talk logic to an alligator, if that makes any sense. They don't have the brain capacity for it. So like a lot of human beings are functioning off of their reptilian brain. You saw the video. He's acting like a damn animal. He's acting worse than a chimpanzee, if you ask me. But is that too harsh for me to? Is that too harsh for me to say these things? Go ahead.
He wasn't supposed to die. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to see anybody die, of course.
I mean, I just wish somebody could have, intervened. But I understand what you're saying, though. I do understand that there are a lot of unhappy people and they're not stable, and the least little thing, step on their shoe, they be ready to fight. I get it. I'm feeling you a little bit more now.
Okay. What say you ladies on this real quick? I'm gonna bring up everybody else. I gotta get to the other super chats. I'm sorry about that. It's a lot of super chats, man. You guys are showing love today. The other super chats are Savage says men are tired of. Hold on for a second. Let me see. NYC Majestic says, why would you want to see this man live another day? Oh, SB, go ahead.
I don't know anything about him. I mean, I wouldn't be the one to say it's time for him to go. That's all.
Okay. Rise Girl and Amber, do you want to broach this real quick?
I mean, kind of like what SB say, it's not my call to say when somebody should stay or go. Mm-hmm. However, as the aggressor, I mean, he put full force punching this woman in his face. You can't expect violence begets violence. You cannot expect to put your hands on somebody and leave or walk away unscathed. And we cannot determine what those consequences are.
No.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. You can't determine the consequences after you initiate it or provoke it, especially once you put your hands on someone.
It's true.
Savage says, if it's worth fifths, who would be drunk? Okay. Isaiah says, son husband had good aim, stop the single mom. Hey, what is up with this son husband thing? We don't know if that's the case. Go ahead. Does anybody want to broach this?
Well, it's only our opinions about all of it. We only really don't know too much at all. So, meaning that she called up on him. It was more like that he's her son, but he's acting as her husband, her protector. He's covering her. So he knew how to use the weapon because he had good aim, and she's a single mom because she doesn't have an actual husband, is what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Could be the case.
Savage says, so she had no respect. A husband wouldn't let his wife go out and get food like that because women need to watch their tongue. Oh, my God. Savage says, how you know he was a man, he might be a woman. CKJ with the $5 super chat says, the man told that lady to get her food and go before he went crazy. Why didn't she listen? I'm sorry. Should we protect women who don't listen? Shut up, man. He can't tell her what to do and what not to do. Crown Reese, what's up, man? Says CT. Where is this honor that women have to defend? Oh, my God. Why are you guys going in, man? A woman was attacked. Crown Reese. Savage says, feminism said women need a man like Fist needs a bike. Feminism got your job. This independence can't take all the benefits and not the negatives. You want to broach that one real quick, lady?
Well, I don't subscribe to feminism or culture, so I can't answer that.
I've been married over half my life. I don't know what you're talking about. So.
And I need a man. I grew up with men all my life, protecting me and showing me how to act as a woman towards a man and how a man should act towards me. So I don't subscribe to that either.
Okay. Let me see some more misogynistic comments. Marriage, politics, and sports with a $10 super chat. Guys, thank you so much for all the super chats. Says this dude should have never let this woman get him that emotional. I put my money he was raised, oh my God, by a single mother. The woman shut the F up.
So let me
go ahead.
So I am, by definition, I am a single mother, even though, and his dad has been active in his life. Actually, my son lives with his dad. So there is statistics to a slight dysfunction to boys raised in a home where there's no man in the house. I understand that fundamentally. It's just always the strong talking point instead of looking at the humanistic archetype of each situation. However, I do understand what is being said, why the single mother thing has come up, because it's prominent in the Black community. There is no way around it. There's no way denying it.
So listen, let's work more as a community, and all the men that have grown up in a two-parent home. Why don't you grab one young man that is growing up in a single family home, become a mentor, and make him a more balanced individual, as a man. How about that?
Great solution.
That works, doesn't it? Because the numbers are really off.
Black Thought says, number one, no one in the party of three has the capacity for logic. Bob with the $5 super chat says, George Floyd probably acted like this guy, and these same women were out protesting against the police. I can agree with that. Savage says she didn't subscribe to a husband. We don't know if she had a husband or not, Savage. Your Sports Now with the $5 super chat says, you're all giving her too much credit. She wanted her son to murder a bystander for laughing. Okay. Okay, guys, let's broach that one, because if that's the case, then that's another element of criminality. But go ahead.
She's wrong. If she did that, then it changes her thought process. Then all of this was done. We're thinking incorrectly. Not only did she want her son to come in and delete the young man, she also wanted him to delete someone else for laughing. So that changes. She was really angry. Her demeanor now is totally different, and this would be out of order, totally out of order. And this was just to win. And if that's the way she's thinking, then she does need to go to prison.
Okay.
Can I say something? I'm sorry. Thank y'all for allowing me to come on this show. I'm from Chicago. What
Have
I
you ever
will
shot
say,
anybody?
Shut up, chaotic.
Excuse me.
Yes. You're from Chicago? I just want to ask. Have you
Yes,
ever
I
shot
am.
anybody?
No, I have not, and I don't think I would ever shoot anybody.
Okay. It's just a stereotype that we.
I know.
Sorry,
Shut up, chaotic.
Go ahead. Sorry. That's what I think about when I think of
I
Chicago.
want to say the information that people have been putting out here is false information. She never texted her son to get out of a car and tell anybody to shoot anybody. She never told him to shoot the lady. When you look at the video, his girlfriend is promoting him. Okay, she was talking to her son, and when she told her son to go get in the car, he thought that she was talking to him. That's when he balled his fist up, as you can see, and started attacking her.
That's what I said earlier.
So the only reason why if people not from Chicago and they don't know the laws here, then don't speak on it. The only reason why they're being charged is because they left the scene. And we know when you have an altercation like that and you're fighting and you leave the scene, then you will be charged, because now they're going to believe the girlfriend who's in there, who's saying, he told you to shut up and be quiet. You don't know this person. This goes on in this city all the time, and I am so sick of it. I am so sick of it. I just recently lost my friend who was 4 months pregnant because the guy asked her, "What's your name?" And she said, "I'm married." And he pulled out a gun and shot her 31 times. So you don't tell me, have I shot somebody in the city of Chicago, when this goes on all the time. But I see this young man who didn't shoot this man for being in a gang, for wearing the wrong color hat. This boy was protecting his mother. Because if it was me, I would have emptied the clip, okay? Because that's my mother. We don't know what type of relationship that this boy had with his mother. Because I love my mother to death. And for somebody to hit my mother over nothing. Because people die in this city over gangs and over internet beefs every day. But a young man protecting his mother from being attacked by a man that she don't even know, he could have killed his mother in his face. Because it had happened in this city all the time. And I'm sick of it. And I live here. And I know victims that have died for nothing.
So, Lady Chicago, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So I just want to make sure that we're understanding you correctly. And this is a terrible thing. It's very sad. But you're saying that there was never any texting going on at all.
Never.
And she actually told her son, who was already in the restaurant with her, to go to the car.
She kept telling him, go get in the car. Go get in the car. And the man thought, like, who you talking? Like, you talking to me? As you can see, he was like, when people say in Chicago, when they say, on my mama, on the dead guys, on this, they finna attack you. That's how we talk in this city.
Can I ask you a question, Lady Chicago? Do you think that there is a subgroup of blacks, like almost like something with the DNA?
What? No.
Yeah, okay, so you think all blacks are just the same then? You don't think that there's like a genetic flaw in some of these blacks?
No. I don't get what you're trying to say, but all I can say is I'm speaking on how I feel about the situation. And when I see this every day, and this young man protecting his mother and not shooting this man over a gang, because that's typically what goes on in the city of Chicago, is gangs killing them because he threw down GD, he threw down the folks and all that, he gotta die. But somebody protecting a mother from being attacked by a man, and this is a stranger, like,
okay, so let me ask you.
She never told him to shoot him.
So another question. You did say though that there was a girlfriend that was encouraging him to actually
and that's why I say, living here, that the woman got into it with her, because we see somebody. Okay, let me let y'all understand right now. Ain't nobody in Chicago that ain't gonna interfere with anything. As you see the man in the black jacket standing behind her, he wasn't finna get in there because they feel like I don't know her. I'm not finna protect her. This is why I say people always come and they don't wanna interfere and stop the fight. They always say what they should have did, but they will pull out their damn phones.
And record.
You ain't gonna step in, but you will pull out your phone and you'll record this woman getting attacked and everything, but then say she messed up her son's life. Like I said, if that was my mama, it would have went down in that restaurant, because you're not finna put your hands on my mama and you a stranger.
But Lady Chicago, it still is a terrible situation because you are saying still that a woman encouraged this.
SB, can I ask you a question real quick, SB?
Sure.
So I don't know how old this young lady is here, but you are a woman of a certain age. I'm 38. Is it possible that this 14-year-old kid eliminated a bloodline that shouldn't be on this planet? I mean, that guy was 32. Is it possible that his bloodline it's like, we don't need that bloodline no more, and what is going on?
It seemed like to me that he have done this a lot. That's not the first woman he hit.
Ma'am, hold on a second. SB, you get what I'm saying, SB? Do you think that this was the work of the Lord, like that bloodline is just eliminated forever? Do you think that's this like, to me, when George Floyd and all these people are eliminated, it's like their bloodline is gone. That's perfect for a new Negro, because we're tired of these types of blacks. Do you think that has to be like there's like a form of eugenics taking place going on?
It probably is a form of eugenics taking place, which is wrong, but
you don't believe in eugenics.
There still is a sin problem, and that's why he lost his life. That's what happened. And we can't put that on God. That was free will, actually. But going back to what Lady Chicago said, then all these things that we've heard that are all incorrect, then her son was actually doing what he was supposed to do by protecting his mom. But we have another woman that was encouraging the situation. So it goes back.
The girlfriend.
The girlfriend. It seems like to me she's saying that the girlfriend encouraged the boyfriend to actually go against the older woman. That's what I'm kind of hearing. Lady Chicago.
Yes, because she kept saying, he said, be quiet. You need to do this. You need to do that. She should have got her butt up and grabbed her man and got up out of there. Nobody says that. Nobody says anything. They always, every time when you see somebody protecting their parent or a woman even saying anything, women need to shut up and be quiet and go hide underneath the butt. Oh, he was raised in this thing. All that don't matter. At the end of the day, I ain't mad at it. I ain't gonna never be mad at it because I see it every day in Chicago. And I'm happy. Not because somebody is dead. I'm happy it wasn't over no game. I'm happy that her and her son is not, I'm happy she's not dead and she stood up for herself. I'm gonna put it like that. Because we don't get that. We never see that in Chicago. People standing up for women. We don't see it. We don't get it.
Yeah, have you ever thought about moving out of Chicago?
They asked me this on the last broadcast that I was on. Absolutely, like but it's hard. It's hard for me. I'm not gonna put all my information out here, but like I said, it's hard. It's a lot you got to do to move out of this city. It's a lot that you have to, money wise and moving places and getting your man together. So yes, that's been a thought, but at the same time, I'm at peace and I'm happy that me and my children are safe in my home. That's all I care about.
Have you ever thought about moving around white people?
I have lived around white people.
Was it like heaven?
Was it like heaven?
Yeah, like was it blissful?
I don't know what you're trying to prove or what you're trying to say, but it's more like I didn't care who I can live around black people, white people, Mexican people, it don't matter. I mind my business, and that's what I did. I wasn't looking for how good this place was or how good. I live around all black people and I'm good.
Let me read these super chats real quick. Hold on for 1 second. And I still got everybody in the back. I'm going to bring you guys back up in a minute. Give me a second here. It's a lot of super chats, guys. Thank you so much. Sean Turner with the $10 super chat says, it's not a man's job to protect a strange woman. You do not have any right to those resources as a woman. If you are covered, then it is your husband's responsibility. I agree with that, Sean, but I'm assuming the young lady more or less was saying that the fact that her son stood up for her says a lot. Savage is being a misogynist today. Says, don't listen to these women. They will lead you to the grave. Savage also says, you don't know he hit other women. If you can't listen to the reporting, it's all or none. Marriage and politics.
Savage been living underneath the rock because, baby, the way he went in on her, he have.
Exactly.
Because if he didn't hit other women, he would have never put his hands on her. So she was the first one. You know what? I'm not gonna curse on you.
I want to put something out real quick to the guys in the chat. I'm gonna go on solo real quick. Notice how Amber, who's from Chicago, she left as soon as somebody else from Chicago got up here telling the real about Chicago. Amber told me, and Chicago really told me I gotta check in before I talk about Chicago. Talking about, it's safe in Chicago. Not from what this girl's saying. Where you at, Amber? Call back in. Let me read the rest of these super chats real quick, though. Call back in. Let me see here. Aztec, all the way from Australia, says, you can't take the bloodline out by taking out a 35-year-old. Women, the ones that bring in these children and evil upbringings and sisters. Why are we bashing women today? Damn, you guys are going in today. Marriage, politics, and sports with the $5 super chat says 25% of all violent crimes in Chicago is versus B-dubs. Unfortunately, most are done by B-dudes. Black dudes. Guys, you guys got to start speaking proper English. I don't know. By the way, no one intervenes in Chicago. London Kang says, for the $2 super chat, says, why is a 14-year-old carrying a pistol? His mother told him to get the pistol. Aztec says, quiet in the chat for the $2 Australian. Bob for the $2 says, so we need a separate legal system for Chicago. 2727 says, sorry, young lady, elections have consequences. That is true. You guys vote for those weak politicians. Lori, you want to answer this question, Lady Chicago? I think this is a good super chat right here. Go ahead.
I mean,
keep it real.
I really don't get into, politics and stuff like that. I really don't get it. I haven't voted for Brandon Johnson. I really don't care because they do the same thing that everybody else do. They come here and they ignore the issues. This 14-year-old boy is not the only 14-year-old boy in Chicago. It's carjackings going on in Chicago.
Ma'am, hold on for a second. Hold on. Have you ever went to a council meeting? Yes or no?
For what? So they can ignore me?
Wow. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 35.
Ma'am, I'm going to tell you this. I'm not trying to... I never speak like I know everything, ma'am. I don't know anything. I'm just an ape living on a floating water rock in infinity.
Mm-hmm.
But ma'am, maybe you should get more civically involved. Reach out to your alderman. Reach out to, you guys don't call them councilmen in Chicago. We call them aldermen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, reach out to your alderman. It starts with you, man. You can be that start. But if I were you, I would move to a white state like Montana, get away from niggas. But
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, let me read the rest of
the
these.
The devil will not steal my joy at all. I ain't going nowhere.
Well, okay, all right. Well, let me read the rest of these super chats real quick. Jordan, like the GOAT with the $5 super chat, says she needs to stop trauma dumping. Yes, she did come in trauma dumping, but that's fine. That's the chaotic truth. She could come in doing that. Savage with the $5 super chat says it's a parent's job to protect their children, not the other way around. That is true. Bob says, was this the same lady defending George Floyd? Nick Tao says, CT, you shouting like, oh, you son of a bitch. Said CT shouting like he was raised by a single mother. Let me see. I think that's it for right now. Oh, wait a minute. Savage again with the $5 super chat says, was this the first time this woman ran her mouth to a man? I don't think so. Aphrodite, you've been patiently waiting. You are not native to this country, but you live here. You live around the blacks. What say you about that video of that 14-year-old boy shooting that 35-year-old Negro and sending him to his maker? Go ahead.
He was 32, not 35.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for having me. CT, you know, as a professional negrologist, not only did I study becoming a negrologist.
Can you come into the mic real quick?
Can you hear me much better?
Yeah, yep.
Let me know, because I can switch and go to my computer.
Yeah, can you? Yeah, go to the computer for us real quick, okay? Go to the computer.
Yes, I'm gonna leave and come back.
Okay. I'm gonna bring a white person up. I want to see this guy's point of view. Soap Club, go ahead, sir. I think the young lady dropped off, if I'm not mistaken. Soap Club, go ahead, sir.
Well, I really only had a couple more statements to make. One of them would have been for both the adults in that restaurant, but one of them's dead, so he won't benefit from this. But anyone else can, because they're words of wisdom. It's kind of awkward. I saw this on a meme, so I have no idea who originally coined this phrase, but it says, never argue with stupid people. You risk being brought down to their level where they'll beat you with experience.
Yep.
And the other statement I have would be for the boy or anyone else in that situation. And I used to know, but I forget who originally said this. An abundance of courage without wisdom is folly. And a little bit of wisdom for him would have gone a long way. If he had realized that he already won when that man was running away and his mother was safe, then that man might have ended up dead anyway, but I doubt they would have ended up in jail. I don't know exactly what they've been charged with, but I think that if the man hadn't succumbed to his wrath and the boy hadn't succumbed to his wrath for seeing his mom being beaten, and that's very understandable, then there wouldn't have been anyone died. But there has been a lot of pointing at the fact, and it is a fact, that that mother could have walked away. And I believe she should have. So to touch back on my first statement for her and the man that's now dead, and anyone can decide who the stupid person was and who the other one was arguing with the stupid person. But if you argue with stupid people, you risk being brought down to their level where they will beat you with experience.
So, Club.
So, in short, pick your battles.
So, Club, is there a black problem in America? You're fine with me, sir. You have impunity over here to speak your mind. Go ahead, sir. Or is there a black problem in America?
I don't think that there's a black problem in America. In my opinion, racial politics as well as party politics tends to retard a conversation because it's broad sweeping. And it doesn't leave exceptions. It confines people to extrinsic, immutable characteristics.
The young lady called in her, you know, I was joking with her at first. I had no idea about her friend who was killed, unfortunately, but she spoke with so much passion.
She did.
But she does not realize, in my opinion, that it fell on deaf ears. Why doesn't she go to council meetings? Why isn't she civically involved? She can't get anything done coming on to the Cali Truth in terms of with her local municipality in Chicago. But why just have a total disregard of local politics? And what do you think is her issue with that? Go ahead, sir.
I believe what you're picking up on there is a little bit of cognitive dissonance. If you look back at what she said, she had so many complaints, and then at one time she also stated that she lives around all black people and everything's fine. If that were true, she wouldn't have any complaints. So there is something wrong that she's refusing to recognize, and I believe it's because of the racial labeling. Because there are different people, even in the same environment. And people tend to be products of their environment, but are not destined to be. One thing people should remember, everyone should remember, is to guard your thoughts, because your thoughts will become words. And you have to guard your words, because your words will become actions. And you have to guard your actions, because your actions become your character. Your character becomes your destiny.
Go ahead, sir.
It's a chain of events, and it's a downward spiral that is actually trending more in black communities that I've seen. And I believe a lot of that is perpetuated by the media. And it's also facilitated by social media. You've seen how they censor things on the media and how they shadow ban and suppress things that could be of benefit. But if it's not hyperbolic, if it's not appealing to emotional impulse, it doesn't get boosted.
Yeah.
So chaotic.
That's big. That's big tech.
You're fine, SP. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to add to what he was saying, because she also said that I'm not going to let the devil steal my happiness, but she was almost in tears also. But I think that what happens is that sometimes African Americans, blacks, we don't think that we're valuable enough or deserve better. So we opt to stay in the mess or in the drama or the chaos, because that's all we know. We don't think we deserve it anymore. And there are a lot of us who feel that way. They feel like if you behave properly, you move out of the projects or out of the hood, you're now acting white. So that's, you're no longer accepted by your friends that have less or what have you. So we get a lot of that. You're no longer accepted if you desire more. So the value of a black person is very low, and all we deserve is what we have here. And as far as her saying that she wouldn't go to a meeting or a Congress to go see her alderman or complain about anything, councilman, is because no one around her has ever done that before. And they've accepted what goes on in the neighborhood because everybody's doing it. How it's like a snitch almost. How can I go snitch on somebody when I'll do the same cunning thing tomorrow? Or, so that's not going to happen. It's just they accepted that this is the way it's going to be. And just like you asked her, well, have you ever thought about moving away from Chicago? Because it's not a good place to raise your children. She
not a good place to be anyway if you're black.
Period. But still, she said, no, I'm not going to let anybody run me away. I'll be running away quickly. But she just feels like she doesn't deserve anything more. Now, she wouldn't accept me saying that way, because she probably hasn't thought of it that way. But let's just say she don't think she deserves better.
SB, can I ask you a question real quick? Would you have shot that guy in the restaurant that night as well?
Oh, God. I don't know. I got to be totally honest with you. I got to be totally honest.
You've never used your service weapon, have you?
I was going to say, I got to be totally honest, because Mr. Boss tells me all the time I need to carry my weapon. He tells me all the time, carry your weapon, carry your weapon. Now, that means both of us have weapons, right? But I tell him so often, I say, I don't want to carry my weapon because I don't want to take somebody's life.
And on that note, Ephrodimus, thank you so much, SBU. Ephrodimus, you are patiently waiting. You are an outsider, respectfully. You are a native-born African. What say you about this particular situation with that that crazy guy, that mop head, attacking that woman in the restaurant? Go ahead.
All right. Can you guys hear me much better now?
Sound perfect. Go ahead.
All right. Chaotic, thank you for having me. And I want to say hello to the panel. And can you please allow me to give my credentials so that some Negro doesn't come up and say you ain't from here? Let me give my credentials. I'm a professional Negrologist. Not only did I study the Negroes here, I came from the Negro factory where the original Negroes are from. I'm able to tell by the type of crimes that Negroes commit here. I can tell by the ethnicity they came from. It's in the DNA. You cannot wipe it out. It's a fact. There are certain types of Negroes. Their DNA in it, there's violence. They don't know how to reason. We have them even in Africa. You know, when you hear civil wars in places, it's the same type of Negroes. They go wild. They turn into cannibals. They start eating people. You see? So this guy, what you saw here is, devils meeting at a place. This Negro was supposed to be deleted. Miss SB, I know you're trying to be nice, but at the same time, you want to talk about God. You're questioning God. You're saying it's wrong. You don't, time's up. He needed to go. And quite frankly, what possible reason could you have to keep him one more hour? What's the reason there? But you see, the same woman that deleted him ended his time. I don't care. People are sitting here talking about, is she a single mom or not? She is a single mom. Did you guys not see the other single mom that called in? She says she's 35. She sounds 15. She's smoking weed. I heard her coughing. I told you, I didn't only study the Negroes in the Negro factory. I used to be a corrections officer too. I studied the Negroes in their natural habitat, which is prison. This guy should have been in prison. And when I say this, the people who, if this doesn't apply, just let it fly. But this right here, it's good that this video went viral. Because the thing is, people need to start thinking real hard. These black women are creating their own monsters. Did you see how aggressive and violent that woman sounded? She's a very violent woman. If she has boys, right? The issue is, okay, a man is supposed to be stoic. You see? You control your emotions, right? So women generally tend to be very emotional. This is why they need a man to be in charge of them. You see? But that single mother, that anger she has, she wants to hurt someone, but she doesn't have the power to do it, right? So imagine if she has a son, if her kid's a son, right?
Yeah.
That same emotion is going to be transferred to them, right? Imagine they put that into practice in the real world, because know that they're seeing themselves as little boys, but you are 6'2" big. You want to, show that same anger. So that woman, she came in there. It's a good lesson. They raised their own monsters and they got rid of them. It's just like, single moms that, it's 3 for 1. When a single mom, for example, these women that run around being sluts all over. And I know some people are going to say, oh, Ephrodimus used slut. Jesus himself in the Bible used the word sluts. He called sluts. That's right.
Okay.
Don't get me preaching up here. But Jesus did call sluts. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, this is the scorn of the devil, the Jezebel. See, when they are doing this, Of course, that old man in that fried chicken joint, he ran off. You know why he ran? He lived around those people. There's a reason why he was able, he made it to gray hair. Do you think that guy made it to that age by accident? Because he know to stay away from trouble. And that woman, the woman that said, they live in a war zone, by the way. You do realize this is a war zone. Look it up. In Chicago and most of these places, the amount of people that they kill, it doesn't even happen in Baghdad or in Afghanistan, in war zones. This is why, Chaotic, last time when you try to say, Africa is more violent than America. No, maybe South Africa. But do you know, even in Sudan, where the war is, even in Sudan, where planes are flying, they're bombing each other, the killings in Chicago are above these people so far?
Go ahead.
They are. So I'm going to go with the theory that you came up with. You are asking, did this little boy, did he need to shoot him?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
But
man.
hold on. It's unfortunate. Let me explain why. Because I have been in a situation like this when I was about his age.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of reversed. There was a guy that, we were like at a party. I showed up there. I had on my Timberland boots. Believe I used to dress like a rapper back in those days.
I got on cosplay as a Black American.
Well, look, I came from the original Negro factory. Anything these Negroes do, where do you think they got it from? It's in their blood, right? If I'm from where their original blood is from, how am I copying them? I'm just extending the new style we brought from wherever. That's all I'm doing. You see, that's all I'm doing. So, with these accusations, Negroes can try to pretend to say they're going to erase their DNA. But I know your village. I know what village you came from. Through your behavior, you can deceive these white people, but you can't deceive me. I know you. I know you like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
So what happened there? Yes, the mother was angry, but it is not good for a little boy at that age to be able to see his mom, another person, thinking it's okay to put their hands on the mom.
Yeah.
He should have controlled his hands to himself, keep his hands to himself. So the little boy did what he needed to do, even though it's out of anger, but he did what he needed to do. That man should have, just like he didn't get away with putting his hands on that woman on camera, that's what should have happened. That's why the good Lord made it happen. See, it was all normal for him. That wasn't his first time, slapping some woman around. Maybe it's the anger from his single mama. They put so much hate in these little boys. They grow into men and they turn into animals. And in America, there's a reason why they have the Second Amendment. They've always had animals run around in America. They will let you be an animal, but there is always an answer for it. Always. In my society where I come from, the African society there, they allow rabid dogs to run around, but we have remedies for rabid dogs. The day they decide that their rabies is getting out of hand, they put them to sleep.
Yeah.
They put them to sleep. So I get it. The white man that is coming here trying to explain laws, to about this situation. You have to understand, Negroes operate from a different perspective. You see, it's the law of the concrete jungle over there in Chicago. That's what the law is over there. And one thing I want Negroes to understand, let's just accept the fact. This community you call, it doesn't exist. It does not exist. Right. Because you see, the fact is, you were bonded through a trauma. It's like people meeting each other in a prison. So you join together on your plight. And now that situation is over. But they are trying to force you guys to become one ethnicity, but you're not. It's in the DNA. Like SBU that's sitting here. She's literally like some woman from my tribe. But she's an African American. Look at the way she carry herself compared to, you know, that woman even in that video, or the one that called in here. Even, you know, like, I don't have to agree with everything she said, but she, look at how she explains it, how she carries herself. So it is not by coincidence that we have to really look into this. Maybe it's different African ethnic groups that are being forced to continue a relationship that needs to be severed because you're not the same people. Because we in Africa, we know this. We know we don't mix with certain ethnic groups because we're not the same people. So now the slavery is over, your trauma is over. This is why you have to lie to each other, to force each other into relationships. It is not working. It's time to let Negroes, you know, the Negroes be the Negroes, and you, the black people, be the black people. Just the fact. You're not the same people. You are not the same people. I'm saying this so you start thinking about this. Have you seen some black person, you all from America, you talk about the same, but the way they think, the way they act is so foreign to you. There's
like
a
young
reason.
lady, like the young lady who called.
Yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason for that. There's a reason. You know, people want to ignore the DNA thing. This is real. Look, because I can tell, even somebody from, I can look at a person from an African, what African country they are from. Most of the time, I can tell you, even if we're from the same country, the way you speak, your accent, I can tell what tribe you are. I can literally tell. To you guys, our accents sound alike, but it's not. I can literally tell what tribe the person is. If they speak English, their accent. If I hear Nigerian talk, I know they're from Nigeria. I hear like a Congolese person, I would know that this person is Congolese. Senegalese, the same thing. Even Senegalese, even I would go further, I can tell you what tribe they are. Literally. And even the blacks here in America, I can tell you whose ancestors were the criminals and whose ancestors were also slave traders and the ones who were innocent. I can tell you all that.
Yeah.
I know people don't want to look into this, but I'm glad, you know, you brought me into this topic because this topic would never go without a professional negrologist like myself, you know, that traveled all the way here to America to come and rescue the mind of the blacks here, you know. So yeah, if you guys have anything to add on to this, and you know, like, I know white people sometimes they want to be all, you know, softy, you know, they are like, oh, let's give the Negroes better eyes and stuff. They need to stop all that bullshit. Excuse me.
Let me read the super chat real quick though. Big Ant with the $10 super chat says, "What up, chaotic? What is SB doing over here? Starting trouble? Laugh out loud." Bob with the $2 super chat says, "Aphrodite, you are giving American riflemen a boner." Ah, come on. Deborah says, "Nothing but facts." Let me see. Bob says, "Speak, Megadamus." Sean says, "Trust not a woman when she cries, for when she cries, it is her nature to cry. When she wants her will, Socrates." What? Savage says, "Was this the first time this woman ran her mouth?" Okay, I already read that one. If anybody wants to pay for Aphrodite's $10 swear jar fee, please feel free to do so. I'm gonna put them in the back. I gotta honor it for everybody. So I know he did, but you know, I rock with everybody, but I gotta be fair to everybody across the board. So if anybody wants to pay his $10 swear jar fee, please feel free to do so. He's in the back right now. He's patiently waiting.
Tell him don't go anywhere. I had a question.
Bail this man.
AK Nation, go ahead, sir. You were next.
So I just wanted to say that Akintunde, the Ak Nation YouTube channel there, he's from Nigeria, and he also espouses the DNA theory. But I wanted to weigh in on just the legal analysis of it, because I follow Andrew Branca, Law of Self-Defense, and you got several issues because she's over there, possibly provoking with intent, because she's got her son coming there with the gun, ready to do harm to the guy, and she's provoking him to a fight. So for her, that's dangerous. Now, for him, as a legal guy, I would, if I was a lawyer, I'd be arguing that, he was just assuming his mother was in danger, and he would get self-defense, as far as I would be saying, except for the fact that after he shot the first time and the guy fled, he ended up chasing him down and shooting him as he's fleeing into the street, and that's contrary to self-defense. But he didn't go and attack the witness like the woman was urging him to do, the girlfriend of the guy. So at least he has that. But chasing him down, that's legally not very defensible, because that loses you the innocence. That's a second fight. You're chasing him down to go after him, provoking a second fight. That's not the actual fight with him attacking the mom. I think morally he did the right thing, because the guy did not really deserve to continue in this world, but legally he's in trouble.
I want to point something out real quick. AK Nation, I want you to finish though. This is why I'm the Negro Whisperer. Wow. I want everybody to look at this woman's car, by the way.
Witnesses identified.
Give me 1 second. I want everybody to look at this woman's car.
This all happened Sunday night. Police tell us just after.
Does anybody see that?
Mm-mm.
Does anybody see the flags on her car?
The black car? Oh.
Yeah. Does anybody see the flags on her car? You see the flags?
Is that the Juneteenth or African American flag or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like Juneteenth flag or something.
Negroes don't care, man. That guy didn't care about her being black. That guy didn't care about Juneteenth. That guy didn't care that this woman was celebrating Juneteenth. But go ahead, though, AK Nation. I just happened to see that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, you see this scenario play out time and time again, where a woman will send her boyfriend or her son or something to go right a wrong done against her, and not care about what he's going to have to face. She's all she's thinking about in that moment is the wrong that's been done to her. It happened with the Jose Alba in the New York with a bodega. Brings her boyfriend back to go attack him because her EBT card declined. There is a big problem with that. And I'll just say, Ock Nation News, I got a copyright strike, so he's off YouTube for a while, but he's on Rumble, and he's usually streaming there nightly. He covers the crime. And I'll sign off at that.
CT, the gentleman that just spoke is pretty much chiming in what I had said earlier, that this is the case of diminishing returns. I'm not in support of women being attacked, but if there's a trend where you start to see where men are being sicked on other men because of some egregious situation with a woman. Now, again, this situation is very specific. We see the attack, but you're starting to see a number of these situations where a young man, a brother, if it's not a brother, it's somebody's son, it's somebody's husband. And I was raised to be protective of women. I want to make that very clear. And I find myself, I think some of the men on this panel probably find themselves in a situation where they're quick to do the natural thing, but because of where we are culturally, you're being told something else. And again, I have to be very specific. When I say the law of diminishing returns, what I'm saying is very specifically is that if you're dealing with feminism and you're dealing with black women adopting white feminism, white feminist talking points, what ends up happening is that you have to pay a price for being a quote unquote strong black woman, being independent. I don't need a man. When you start to have a culture like that, juxtaposed with this belief of gender neutrality and looking at babies, and you're seeing, and I'm going out in the paint, but I'm going to be very specific. When you're seeing babies and you don't know what gender they are, you're looking at a boy, you can't call it a boy, you can't call it a girl, all these things, and there's an alignment between, unfortunately, Black people and some of this gender confusion. Now all of a sudden you want, I mean, I've heard the women speak very concretely. They're expecting male protection. How do you have that expectation of male protection with all this confusion that I don't need a man, and yet but you do need a man? So you can't have it both ways. I just want people to be honest about what's actually happening in real time on the ground. You know, matter of fact, there's a story that came out, I think a couple of weeks ago, again, strong Black women, where a mother and daughter, maybe a few weeks on Instagram, that had glowing remarks about their grandmother, the elder. You know, I love my grandmother. You know, I think SB knows what I'm talking about. The mother and daughter on Instagram gave glowing reviews about this loving family, but then someone uses a credit card they weren't supposed to use, and somehow the mother and daughter dismember this grandmother. Yeah. So you're asking me to go to the hilt for cases where I'm seeing women buck shots, I'm seeing them confront men, I'm seeing them dismember grandmothers. This is in the atmosphere, and now at the same time, I want protection. Can someone explain to me? Am I speaking a different language? Am I saying something that doesn't quite? Am I being inaccurate?
Well, the only thing I would say to you is that I don't think you would know. You wouldn't know. I just think you're grouping all women together, and you're just making that decision to say I'm stepping back, because you wouldn't know. No,
what I'm saying is that there's a trend, and that men have to be cautious. They just cannot go out there with it, because what you're saying to me is there's this natural expectation of protection.
I do have I have a yes, and it goes with, if something's heavy, men help me pick up the water. But that this is me though. But I understand totally what you're saying, and I just don't want men to group all women in the category of being these women that I should not help, when there could be a woman sitting on a train that has done nothing to anybody and is being very quiet, and have a man come up to her and just abuse her, and we just sit and watch it, because that happens too. Or a woman going into her laundry, her dry cleaners in the morning, and this big Black dude following her in there and just beating her like nothing, and everybody just walking by looking, and this woman has done nothing or said anything to anybody. So I understand exactly what you're saying. I'm just saying, I don't have all the answers. You just don't bank, a large brush and be like, all of them are like that. I ain't got nothing to do with it.
Bob with the $5 super chat says, America First Rifleman. His face looks like the 9th guy out of 9 in a gangbang, and can't wait to get in. Angel, you've been waiting, and then Tracy. There's a lot of people on the panel.
All right. So yeah, Audrey, my truth does say deplorable lives matter, because that's what the Democrat voters of America had chanted for in 2016.
Angel. Hold on for a second. Hold on. If you would have went into that ghetto chicken and fries spot, what would you have ordered?
Well, I would just order with whatever is most popular, or take a look at the menu if it's a place I've never been to. Because I've never been to Chicago, I'll be quite honest, there. But I have something of my own I want to say about Chicago later on, what I want and I'm about to say about this incident that happened. To be quite honest, whether it was instigated or not there, it should have happened. Like, it should have been instigated if it's like by text of what you think, SB, or with what Lady Chicago said earlier, whichever. I'm learning more about this as it goes along, obviously, as everyone else is. And
sorry about that, Angel. Bob kicked you up out of here. He says, I can't do robot. Have him get recharged. Sorry about that. So, Angel, I'll bring you back at 10:46. Bob kicked you out for 20 minutes with the $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Bob. We got Tracy in the building. Tracy, what say you, sir, about Chicago? You're on mute. You're on mute, sir. You're on mute. You're on mute, Tracy. Tracy, you're on mute. Tracy, you're on mute. Oh my God, in heaven.
All right, I'm good now. I'm good now.
Go ahead, sir.
Can you hear me now? All right, SBU, I love what you just said. You broke that down perfect. And I love your show, Afro Diamonds, you know. And hey, CT. Now, I just had a quick question now. Did you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now that woman, she had a concealed, carry permit. My question is, why would she get a 14-year-old son, to shoot that man like that? Why would she do something like that? That was my main question.
Well, the young lady said that that's not what happened. There was some tales of it, her telling him to go to the car and get it. But I think that the young lady from Lady Chicago said that that's not what happened. That he probably knew it was in the car and he took it upon himself to go to the car and get it. But I don't think we really know. I don't know what.
I know why.
Oh, so she probably sent him out there. Well, no, he was already in the car, so she had time to text him.
No,
Tracy, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why she did that. The reason being, if you look at Chicago, they have a history of where these gang members, if you notice, they send these little boys between 10, 11, and 14, because they want to be able to get away with murdering people, you see, with deleting people. They want to be able to get, so she was hoping, see, the reason is she's using nefarious, she used nefarious reasons. She wanted to delete him, you see, but she knows she didn't have grounds to do it. So she used the little boy to do it because they do use the little boys in Chicago.
All right, it's making sense.
But wait a minute. The young lady said that that's not, she didn't tell
we
him.
Can trust her. We can trust her.
Okay.
She's way too emotional. And, when people are emotional like that, they tend to lie, to try to skew things their way. We don't get into all that. She's definitely the problem there. She's adding on to it. And if she's raising, feature carjackers, drive-by shooters, and repeating this, we would be. Derek, I'm a neurologist, sir. How many times have I ever been wrong?
I will admit you're normally never wrong. You actually are right. But what if her kids end up being nuclear scientists? I mean, molecular biologists.
Then we'll talk about that. I think that's highly unlikely.
That's not gonna. But but that was just peculiar to me. If she had a concealed carry permit, I don't understand why her 14-year-old son was involved with any handgun.
Well, the young lady said she sent him to the car as though to get him out of the environment.
But let me hear.
The earliest one was that she sent him a text message.
But the young lady said that none of that is true. We don't know. We're going with Afro. He said they all telling lies.
So
so it's a bunch of stuff we don't even. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure everything gonna come out soon, but I just need a clarification.
So Afro Diamonds, please continue real quick. What were you saying now?
Yeah, so they use these kids to go murder them, So possibly even if they send them to juvie, they won't get a long time. They already know this. Look at it. Even Denzel talked about this, where this little boy, they call him what? He had like little killer or something like that. By the time he's 11, you can look it up. He's deleted how many people, he talked about it. And what they do is they use these kids to delete other people. Even if they put them in juvie, it's like, if the longest they'll be there is till they're 18, or give them 2 years. That's it. So in her mind, because I worked like I said, in the prison, where you have people say, I've got the elbow, meaning, they're not gonna come out, right? So you would hear people say, man, I only got 5-year bid. That ain't nothing. So for us out here, you're thinking that's 5 years, like you're taken out of the system. So in her mind, maybe she, she probably deals with jailbirds. Even if she doesn't, she lives in a place where majority of the people are jailbirds. In fact, it's funny, when I first few years in America here, I took the Greyhound bus. You guys know the Greyhound. I traveled around America. So one time I was living in Iowa, so I caught a bus between, there's a place, Greyhound from, Davenport. I was going Davenport to Chicago. So at the time I was a young negrologist. I didn't understand the Negroes here well. So, I didn't know the dangerous place. I'm like, hey, I'm happy to see my people, right? So in one of the Greyhound buses I was in, I was there with some people who just got released, because here's the white people are really good. What they do is they take these concrete jungle, rebels, Civil War fighters. When they grab them, they send them to a prison, Davenport. That's a different state, you see. So they send them there. So I'm in the bus with a bunch of Negroes. They're in their white T-shirt. So I was talking to one of them, and we were having conversation. And I was like, "Where are you coming from?" He said, "Davenport." And I asked him why they all were dressed alike. He said, "Oh, we just finished doing our bid." I was like, "What is that?" At the time, like I said, I didn't know. He said they came from prison. I was very interested. I was asking him. He told me the story. And he's like, "Yeah, it ain't nothing." At the time, I asked him how old he was. He was same age as me at the time, like 22. But this guy he told me at the time, he had already done like 5 years. So he's going back to the south side there. And, he seemed like a pretty nice guy, nice guy. We had conversation. We even ate KFC together at the bus stop and everything. But yeah, that's just what they do. He started young. So by 22, he graduated. He became an OG.
So, Aphrodamus, you mentioned that the DNA is the reason for, you can tell by the DNA how Negroes were behaved. So are you saying that in Chicago, in the inner city, well, South Side, West Side, whatever, do they all have the same DNA?
Good question. This is a great question. Not all of them, because if you notice, not all Negroes in Chicago behave that way. In fact, I used to date a very beautiful, light-skinned young lady whose family was from Chicago. They are good people. They don't behave that way. It's not all. Even in Chicago, when you go there, like myself, when I took that time back in those days to study. So I'm not just an internet negrologist. I did field studies. I'm talking field studies. And my first assignment was in White Plains, New York, Bronx. You guys know where that is?
I do.
Yeah. So did my time there, went to the South Side, Chicago. So I have studied on the ground. Not all people, it's not everyone that acts that way. Even the places they call the hood, if you notice, it's not all people that do these things. It's not all people there that act this way. But if you are around this type of behavior after some time, it seeps, because are you familiar with the term nature versus nurture?
Yes.
Yeah. So, nature versus nurture. So your environment and the DNA, when they come together, it explodes. It explodes. So, because even I'm sure you yourself, you're thinking about it, you're like, he's onto something, because you've seen some people, they are from here. You have questioned. you have had questions.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Can I respond to Aphrodamus for a moment? You know what? I think he's being somewhat humorous, and that's okay. Maybe he's being factual. That's okay as well. I will say this. I think there's a term that's on the street, and it goes keep that same energy. I think we need to have that same energy when Black folks exhibit exhibit excellence, and we should say that is a black thing. It seems like we weigh in on negative confirmation bias. In other words, if black person does something negative or poorly, all of a sudden that's very much a black thing. That's very black. But the young people in the UK that are mostly black that outperform other ethnic groups scholastically, we never perceive that to be a black thing.
True.
Well,
okay. Let me finish my point. Hold on. Let me finish. For instance, Africa, and I would assume as a negrologist of direct African descent, the rest of us might be indirect. You're direct, right? Africa is known for having the greatest genetic diversity. That they have a Einstein project taking place right now. They're looking for the next Einstein, and it's not in the Netherlands. It's in Africa. So the Einstein project, the next Einstein will be black. So if we're going to talk about the next Idi Amin, we have to also talk about the next Einstein being black. So it's time we have to deconstruct race. If we're going to talk about Scotland, for instance, Scotland has a white gang problem. Over 100 gangs are in Scotland. Is it because they're white? See, we have to be intelligent. I see the young man waving with the green hat. That's cool. I know that my vernacular and my tilt turns off people because I don't say ax, I say ask. But I'm keeping it 1,000 right now. I think we need to start having factual data instead of emotion and instead of minstrelsy. I don't do minstrel stuff. I do facts, data. I read.
No, you're definitely emotional in a certain type of way. Because,
no, I'm not emotional. I'm very factual, sir.
Because when you hear about people actually saying, like the negrologist next to me right here, you got triggered and like, we don't talk about black accident, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like,
I gotta read these super chats. There's a lot coming through. Give me a second. Edward with the $5 super chat says, ask Afrodamus why he isn't in Nigeria fighting Boko Haram. Afrodamus is not from Nigeria. He is from Gambia. Just answer that question. NYC Majestic says Afrodamus for president. SB, I'm sorry, did you say something?
I was just speaking to Mr. Gilbert.
Oh, okay. Bob says, y'all keep saying I mean, but ain't paying to get him back. I'm doing the Lord's work, you ungrateful chat rats. Edward Gilbert says, ask Afrodamus. Oh, I'm sorry, he did that. Bob with $2 super chat says, y'all pay to get Angel back on since you care. Oh, yeah, because you got him down. All right, guys, go ahead. And then we got to get DMT in, but go ahead, Afrodamus.
Can I respond?
Yeah.
Hey, the Afro nerd guy, where are you from, sir?
Does it matter?
Yes, it does.
How would I answer that,
sir?
What do you mean?
Hold on. Let me hold on.
In what way do you want to answer it?
Hold on. Let me say this, sir. When you were, putting that word salad together, because you spewed a whole bunch of nothing, right? You did mention one thing there. You said, Afrodamus, you being from the black factory. Everyone here knows I'm from the black factory. Wherever I go, I make that known. You see? So, yes, you're correct. I would be the one with the knowledge. If there were Einsteins there, don't you think I would be the one to know this?
I don't think so.
Here's the thing. You see, the difference between you and I, right? I don't delude myself. I don't sit here and try to pander and pretend and live in the world of what ifs. Okay? You think somebody just went and created Einstein. Sir, you certainly do not read. I read about Einstein when I was in the 3rd grade back in Africa. I read it, in fact, with a kerosene lamp. We didn't have electricity. You see? So let me tell you, you are living a delusional life. If you want to go talk about black excellence, the black people that are Einstein's doing all these things, why don't you create a YouTube channel and talk about that? See, when I see it, I will talk about it. But this is what I studied, sir. And this is what I see. I know you don't like it. You're probably one of the Negroes that are my study subject, and you don't like it. But it's not about emotion. I am here to help you. I'm not against you. I hope you know this.
Well, can I respond to that? First of all, I find you you're a fascinating character, Aphrodamus, because this is what I'm saying. As a conservative, I'm very much cemented in reality. Okay, I'm cemented in reality. All
What
I'm
are you
saying.
conserving?
Well, first of all, when you say that it's word salad, anytime someone hears the truth or they hear something they don't like, they use some kind of pejorative. They it's like the smart guy and he's got the weird tilt in his voice and that kind of thing. So I think you're pretty funny, but I gave you facts saying all you say is it's just word salad. So 2 + 2 = 4 might be word salad to you as well. So what I'm saying to you specifically is, I talk about the dysfunction, just like CT talks about the dysfunction, but I also respect people who get it right. And to give this widespread negative tilt on black people is just patently incorrect, sir. There are people, for instance, in Brooklyn, you have a hack house in Brooklyn, not a trap house, but a hack house of young black nerds that no one wants to talk about, but they're figuring out the next Google. See, these young men need to be spoken about. We're more comfortable talking about Cardi B and the minstrels, but when I mention black folks that get it right, all of a sudden it's word salad. So again, I find you fascinating. I find you humorous. Maybe you'll be on Def Jam. I don't know. Go at it, sir. Okay, go at it. And for the gentleman in the green hat, I know that this sounds funny. But I'm not the one tap dancing. I'm just giving you the truth. I'm telling you the complete truth. I read my fair share of books. I cannot be deconstructed. You can look it up when I tell you something. When I give you a date, you can look it up. You can confirm it. But you call it word salad. So have at it.
Okay, hold on. My brother, you just pandering. That's all you doing, homie.
Afronard, let me ask you this. So you said the blacks are figuring out Google, right?
No, I said a hack house in Brooklyn. I said specifically.
Wait.
Wait a minute. You got to get it right. I said specifically. There's a story of young men, many of them with Ivy League degrees, young black men that need to be supported in Brooklyn. They have developed a hack house in the brownstone. You can look it up. You have black men that are creating apps, and you have black men that slap women around in Chicago. The two coexist. But allegedly, that's word salad to you. I mean,
I'm asking you. Okay,
you make me laugh.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny?
Yeah,
you know what's funny?
You are funny, sir. You are funny. But continue.
You know what's funny? Why is it that, right? When people like you, when you speak about this hypothetical world, because we have Google already. Google is great, right? So how come you Negroes never try to invent things until it's already here? You are on it, I'm on it, we're all enjoying it. Let's just stop the cap, and just come on here and put out the information. If even Negroes figure out Google, what are they going to put there? The road to fried chicken land? Is that what's going to happen? The road to go complain to white people? What is it going to be? Please, sir, put that aside. Good for those people. They went to the white people's school. They got degrees. Now go serve your master and make that green money.
Wait a minute. We got a nice super chat. Thank you so much, Beak. Angel, Beak wants to hear from you, man. Go ahead. Let's give Angel for like a couple of minutes, 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Please, first off, Bob, if you have a problem, you could just switch off the stream and not listen while I speak, because it seems like you're attacking me personally there. Like, you've done this twice already yourself there, and the first time around you did it to protect me, but now it's like a totally different scenario or story of what you're trying to do there, Bob. So I just want to say that. And I also have to humor. You can give me a wrench if you want to, Ki. You don't have to if you don't want to, but there are those in your chat that actually would be willing to have me be a mod for your channel, since I'll be up here quite frequently. Now, getting back to what I was saying there before Bob tried to silence me, obviously. no matter what the situation or scenario, it could have been prevented. And if I was there, I would be scared to intervene because, for one, I could be the hero of that situation to stop it from getting worse than it already would have been. Or I could become the next person that would be sucker punched there. And so there's so many things nowadays where it's hard to defend yourself. And now if you're hailed a hero, you're the villain. And that's just the sad world that we live in. And to the lady in Chicago, sorry you had to go through all that stuff that you had to over the years of you living there. But for those that voted for people like Lori Lightfoot and the current Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, that's who you are voting for, and that's what is coming about from what is going on in the city of Chicago. Because every Democratic-led state that started the whole zero bail reform rule in like 2017 or 2018, now you're having criminals get away with robberies, some with murders, and some in the heinous of home robberies too there. And let alone like hit and run. Like you can't even like go to the driver and get a compensation from their insurance company in places like that because of how people in those cities are becoming targets and victimized there. And it's just out of where the states and cities like that are being led and ran by. I mean, it's obviously people who are voting for this are okay with it. But what would you say if you were to become the next victim? What would you say if you voted for Brandon Johnson? Would you vote for him again or any black mayor? Not saying that you should vote white, just vote more commonly and more with like a common sense of knowledge there. And I showed this in my first go around there. My deplorable lives matter. Thank you all those that love the shirt of mine there. But it's just out of where we are in this kind of world here, and whether it was the text or whatever that is. It could have been prevented in that situation. And at the same time, people need to start like bringing themselves into a situation, finding out what is going on and try to intervene. And whether or not if you become a victim, at least you could try your best to prevent it. And we all need to stop thinking that our cameras on our phones is the only reliable source of information there, even if it doesn't go viral. Just because of what you see going on doesn't tell the full story beyond what is shown on the video.
You got the floor, man. You got the floor. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm like done here. That's like what I had to say there.
Okay. DMT, you've been patiently waiting, man. Go ahead, sir. And then 777. Go ahead, sir.
Can you hear me good, CT?
Yeah, you sound pretty good.
Yeah, shout out to the panel, man. Shout out to my fellow Chicagoans, 43rd and Princeton. I didn't catch where the girl lady Chicago said she was from. I came in a little late. But look, it's like this, man. I think this happened in the hundreds off Halsted, off like 116th and Halsted. All right. I heard everybody's thesis statements and theories of what happened, especially Afrodamus. He has some interesting stuff to say, as he usually does. Where I think he's got it wrong at, though, is I think most people are trying to give this woman and her son way too much credit. Like they had this much foresight in this sort of situation. Now, being raised how this young man is probably raised as a son husband, raised to defend your mother at all costs. That was me. I used to love to fight. My mom would threaten other people, said, I'm going to call my son. He going to come get you, you know. And I would go get him for her. Raised to defend my mom at all costs. So I get where this kid is coming from and what he's thinking. The problem is, and I don't think this is a Chicago problem. I think this is like across the board a lot in the Black community. We have a trend of women, and it's not just starting. This has been happening for a while. But we have a trend of women that they know they will always be able to depend on their son, and they'll make sure of it. They'll make sure they raise him in a way to where he can be their own version of an attack dog, right? I don't think they do it intentionally. I think it's a subconscious thing they do for protection. I think they know, well, you know, I know a lot of girls, especially my age coming up, that's so happy to find out when they get a son. Like, yeah, he gonna do this. I'm gonna have him do this. He gonna always protect his mama. You know, they saying that he can't even walk yet, right? They already embedding this in their head. Like, yeah, he gonna be what's Destiny Child's song, The Soldier. That's what they want. They want a soldier. What she say, somebody who gonna stand up for me? That's exactly what they want. Whether it becomes in the form of a man or their son, they'll take either one. So in this situation, I think, you know, the young man seen his mom getting hit on. Now they saying that she told him to go get the gun. I think he knew where it was. I don't think she had to tell him to go get it. I think he was waiting because I saw a surveillance video. He's sitting there patiently waiting on dude to make the wrong move just so he can do what he got to do. You know, he's sitting there. He was watching the whole situation play out. Now, where this kid would have been probably different for me is I would have tried to run in and try to fight the dude. But we're in a different era. And they in the hundreds. They from the hundreds. So he understand I'm not finna fight this dude, this 32-year-old grown man. If he do something to my mom, I'm gonna do that to him. Meaning I'm gonna shoot him. And I don't think this is a premeditated situation. I hear people saying like, yeah, he shot and then they chased him down to go finish him. It's Chicago, man. If you don't finish the job, your ops are gonna spin the block and they're gonna get you. So I think in their mind, they like, we gotta eliminate him. Like, we gotta eliminate the threat all the way. And that just may be the psyche of the city. Like that's what you kind of is in you, embedded in your processing. Like, it's kill or be killed out here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let this dude run away, live, go get a gun, find out where I stay, come back and shoot me and my son. No, we're gonna finish him right here. Whether it's within the law or not, nobody's even thinking about the law in this moment. They're thinking about the threat that has to be eliminated. So I think we got to look at it from all angles. I don't think this is some premeditated thing. I don't think they had enough foresight to say, yeah, son, go get the gun and then go shoot him. We're gonna get conflicting reports coming out. It's gonna go to trial. I ultimately think they both gonna get off.
Yep.
I think they both gonna get off. Just knowing how Chicago's DAs and prosecutors system out there, I think they're gonna get off. We're gonna be reading the story about a year or two. You know, son who shot, killed man for his mother, released from jail. You know, we're gonna see it. So as unfortunate as it is, I think the young boy was well within his moral right to do so. Now, do I think this is a self-defense situation? It started out that way, but it didn't end that way. And the mother, I mean, I'm hearing people saying she should be at fault, sending her son as an attack dog to do this. And I get it. If it was me, I would have did the same thing he did, to be honest. You know, because that's your mom, and dude was out of pocket. Like, you could tell he's a dude that's used to hitting on women. He didn't even flinch at the idea. He said, "Oh my grandma, I'm gonna hit you." Like, and that was another indicator to me. He merched it on his grandma, not his daddy, not his dead homie. He merched it on his grandma. So he must have been raised by grandma.
Wow.
So just looking at it from that perspective, it's just we gotta look at all angles, but I do think they're gonna end up getting off. And the people that's saying, you know, this is a Chicago issue and this is the kind of stuff they vote for. I hear a lot of conservatives say that, and I'm gonna say this. I really get frustrated when conservatives say that they get what they vote for when Republicans make no effort to even run candidates in that city. Like, if you ain't gonna tell them the better option of who they should be voting for, if you ain't gonna tell them where they could go get information for Republican voting, if you can't do none of that for them, then why even say it? Because y'all know Republicans are scared to knock on these doors. Y'all know they don't talk to those people. So why even bring it up that they get what they vote for? They don't have many options. You've allowed Democrats to get that sort of stronghold on the city. So when it comes to running candidates, y'all don't even have the balls to run a candidate. So you shouldn't have much to say about how they voting habits if you're not making an effort to change them. Now, I know Republican candidates get ran out there. They don't get very far at all. So I'm gonna let y'all get some pushback on that. But that's just
if I could blame one person.
What's merchant, by the way?
What's merchant?
Yeah.
Oh, that's when you put it on somebody like people, like if I'm merchant on my dead homies or if I'm merchant on my grandma. When somebody's like on my grandma or on GD or on my baby, that's merchant. That means you're
what?
I'm trying to explain the way. So when you're like when you heard them say "oh my grandma," right?
Yeah.
So when somebody say they gonna do something or they trying to tell you that they not lying about something, I'll put it on my grandma. I'll put it on my homie, or my daddy, whatever. That's merchant it. So basically, you putting it on something to prove you're not a liar.
SB, do you know? Do you follow?
Well, I was wanting to ask, are you saying merging it or merging it? What exactly?
No, like literally merchant it. MERCH is merchant it.
Would that
in the slang terminology, it wouldn't even be no ing. It's just merchant. Like I'm
SB, do you
somebody be like,
you swear,
man, I had sex with that girl last night. They'd be like, you lying, merchant.
Okay, I've never heard that before.
Man, I put it on my grandma.
Would that be? Could that possibly?
Hold on for a second. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I want to send a big thank you to the royal family in England. I'm so glad that your family went throughout the world conquering niggas, conquering other groups of people. Can you imagine just in Africa and in other places on the planet, just these stupid, no offense to what you were saying to DMT. It's just stupid languages. It's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Merchant? What the hell is that, DMT? What is merchant? Like, what is that? Like, what is the etymology of merchant?
It's like swearing. It's like you swearing on something. You know when somebody says on God? That's a form of merchant.
Thank you, white man, for introducing English to the world. Let me read these super chats real quick. Yeah, I'm lost. Let me see. TS says he is her dog attack. He is her attack dog until she cannot control what she created. She masculine for not walking away. Bob also with the $2 super chat says Rock looks like a Skittle. Bob says, do you have any fear in jail? And 2727 says DMT blaming Republicans for the problems in Chicago is not the candidate for the dumbest comment of the year. Hold on for 1 second. We got to get 777 in real quick. Thank you so much, DMT. 777, what's up, man?
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Well, I'd like to say first, I was going to get into my, the legality of the case, but I'd like to say that I watched the video and I was happy that this gorilla was taken off the face of the planet and shot in the back like that. And it may sound a little harsh, but let me explain. So if you're in a restaurant with your mom is around 40 years old, and you're a little child, okay, no matter what streets you're from, Chicago, New York, whatever, your mom gets punched in the face like how you used to watch, I don't know if you guys watch hockey, probably not, but like a hockey fight where they grab your shirt and punch you repeatedly in the face. This little boy had every right to shoot this man in his back 5-6 times. Who cares? This man was a man that probably, can we play the video?
Go ahead, 777.
Chaotic.
Get your food! Nay. Get your food. Get your food. If you say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out. Oh my grandma, say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out. Say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out.
All right, 777, go ahead, sir.
So God bless that young man, and I hope that Black Lives Matter and everybody comes together, and we get this young man a great lawyer, and he walks out of this, which I think he might, because this was self-defense. Okay, this was justifiable. Not only did he protect his mom from possibly being killed, okay,
he did.
This woman was going to be stomped. Let's keep it real. This woman was going to be stomped out, and nobody was going to help. You saw? Can you go back to the older black man that ran out after he saw this? Can we rewind that? He wasn't helping. He was out of there.
Lady, get your food. Woo, get the cop.
I don't know why she wouldn't walk away.
Look at him, gone.
Go ahead, 777.
Quick off. Okay.
777, go ahead.
Yep.
Go ahead.
In Illinois. All right, here we go. Let's see here. Illinois provides that individuals may implement reasonable force to defend themselves or someone else. In addition, reasonable force may be used to defend one's property. To use self-defense in a murder case, the accused must show there was grave and immediate threat to the accused, another person, or the accused property. I would say, looking at this video, this was his mom was going to be killed. She was already punched repeatedly in the face. If she would have went down, a kick to the head could have killed her.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Also, the threat was illegal. You don't just... I understand you can't just shoot a man for no reason, but there was a reason in this case, which would implement self-defense in the child's eyes. There was a threat. It was illegal. You can't just punch a woman. You can't punch anybody, really. The accused also believed that there was a danger present that required that force. He's 14. The man's 34 years old. I'd shoot him too at 14. He's not going to win in a street fight, so he couldn't protect himself with his hands. Nor would the police be there in a timely manner because, let's face it, it's the Wild Hundreds, also known as the danger zone. Nobody's going to come for 15, 20 minutes probably. And by then, the woman would have been dead. Who knows if this man had a gun, a knife? Most likely he probably had some sort of weapon on him or maybe in the vehicle. The accused used force that was equivalent to the threat. If his mom was going to allegedly be killed, then he should have killed the assailant, which he did. This boy is a hero. Not only is he a hero, but he saved his mother's life and probably other women's life because it looks like a woman beater to me. And that's it.
Well, the subway killing in, the Michael Jackson impersonator that was killed, and they had the Marine that intervened. I felt a certain way about that, where especially being a New Yorker, and I don't do subways. I just don't do it. I try to avoid them at all costs. But the environment that led to that young person's death, no one wants to talk about that. And the only reason why I'm bringing it up is, he was let go very early in the situation. The police had already assessed that situation, and then the public comes in and says, no, this young man needs to be charged. And I think where I'm making the connection is there's one thing as to what you do morally, but how this plays out legally. In other words, that young man was choked, and many of us support that because of the condition of the subway. But he should have walked away from that situation legally. I'm talking about the Michael Jackson impersonator. He should not have died because of what happened. Although many of us feel a certain way, and as animalistic, and I support CT's usage of the sound effect. To be honest with you, I do. But should he have died because of that? I don't know. I think how that plays out legally, there's a $3 million bail for this woman, for the parent. So we can say what we will about this, but how this plays out legally and the actions that the mother had in having a minor intervene the way that she did, endangering a minor for him to have to make that decision. There's a lot of working pieces going on, just like there's working pieces in the Subway case that we have an emotional feeling about it, but how it plays out legally, $3 million bond doesn't smell clean to me.
No, not at all. Mm-mm.
Can I add one thing real quick, Afro Nerd? So
of course.
Now you said, I know this is going around in the media, the mother directed the hit like she was a mafia boss. This wasn't a hit. This was a child that walked in, saw his mom getting pounded out, respectfully, punched in the face over and over, and probably would have been stomped. And I don't know if anyone's been, Afro Nerd, have you ever been stomped out on the ground, sir?
No, I avoid circumstances. I'm called the Afro Nerd for a reason.
Okay. Well, you would have probably been kicked in the face repeatedly.
Would not have been there.
All right. I don't know if he had Tim's on, but if you ever been kicked with Tim's, it could probably kill you. But anyways, this young man protected his mom, which is self-defense. I don't care what state you're in, but if you're in Illinois, this is considered self-defense. Now, if it's on tape, him or the mother saying, hey, go get the gun, kill him, which I didn't hear. I don't think anybody has heard that on this tape or any audio. No one's heard it. Where are the witnesses? Even so, that would be her protecting herself too. That would also be self-defense. And if there is a gun, which he used clearly, this is self-defense. This is a clear, justifiable homicide.
No, it's actually not. I've kind of sat back and I've actually been on for 2 hours. I haven't said a word. One thing, I mean, can I say something chaotic? All right, cool. Look, self-defense and deadly force, using deadly force, you have to be trying to use deadly force against somebody. A punch to the face is not deadly force. That's not supposed to bring that about. Now, if somebody's stomping on her head, which Negroes like to do, then yes, that's considered deadly force. Or if he punched her a couple of times and he shot.
That's deadly force, sir. That's deadly force. A punch.
That's not deadly force. Punching does not constitute deadly force. I'm sorry. It does not.
Kill you.
Now, hold on. Now, I'm giving you a couple of scenarios, a couple of simple scenarios that are go nationwide. It's kind of general, but these apply differently in different states. So say if he punched her, hold on, can I finish? He punches her and then he pulls out a weapon like a hatchet. That's deadly force. Okay. But him simply punching her does not constitute deadly force. This is what, now hold on. Now there's disparity of force as far as that. Yes, the prosecutors always take into account the man's size and age and the juvenile. They will take that into account. But the thing about it is he barely could get away with the one shot to the back to get him off his mom. Maybe he could get away with that. Once he ran out of there after him, it's over. It shows that he was not fearing for anybody. He was after blood. That's what I'm saying. Like somebody that says they're afraid, they can't say they're afraid. Somebody who is afraid, he shot the guy out of fear and then worried to get his mom out of that situation. That's fear. Okay.
It sounds like, hang on a second, real quick. It sounds like you're protecting. No, just real quick. It sounds like you're protecting. Hang on, Rock. It sounds like you're protecting. You're protecting a woman.
No, it's logic and it's law, bro.
Rock,
listen.
Stop interrupting me. I'm talking.
It was self-defense. Then the man turned around and was fleeing the scene.
It sounds like you're protecting
when he shot him in the back,
a woman
it was murder.
beater.
It went from self-defense
You're
to
also
murder
protecting a woman beater, Rock. You make no sense. You don't know the law.
You
can't talk to me about
Rock. Just let him cook real quick. Go ahead, 777. Please finish.
Sir, respectfully, where on video have you seen this young man run out? Because have you ever been shot in your back?
No. Like, let's stay.
Where was he? Where was the body?
You actually think 777 is going to make a good point, bro?
Where was the body found, sir?
But look, 777. Hold on. Let's not get derailed. Let's stay on topic. Okay. This is the deal. So he shot him once in the back, while he was presumably punching her. Okay, we get that. Justified or not, I think just this totality of the circumstances, legally he probably could have beat it on that one. But you cannot claim nobody can claim they were in fear if he did that action after that. So another thing too is and I would like CT to do this if at all possible, is play the press conference from the charging district attorney. That would give more clarity because Lady Chicago, I think she probably spread possibly a little bit misinformation by mistake. Maybe I would say let's go off of what the DA has released so far, and we base what we say on that and nothing else. And that's why, yeah. So go ahead. Security boss. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. Are you saying that it was not deadly force for him to hit that woman the way he hit that woman and her not respond?
That's not deadly force. He assaulted her, but it's not deadly force. Now, if he had a weapon and was bludgeoning her, that's
not true,
force.
sir. Your hands are a weapon.
So
you don't know the law.
So you're saying that are you saying that the same rules apply? That woman isn't more vulnerable in a fight with that man? That he could not beat her with deadly force with his hands?
2 punches is not deadly force.
So was it the gunshots that stopped him at 2 punches, or was it the fact that he stopped himself? Because I asked that question earlier. I didn't see him stop.
I have no idea if he finished the 2 punches and then was shot, or was in the middle of the second punch. I have no idea.
Exactly. You have no idea.
For them to figure out.
You're muted, bro.
You're muted, chaotic.
Let me just read the super chat real quick. Marriage, politics, and sports with the $10 super chat says the New York City case and this one are absolutely different. The $3 million bond only reserved for black people. Come on. What's the NYC white dude's bail? The dude that says a punch is not deadly force is ridiculous. Guys, I got to get the hell up out of here. This might be risky. Has been waiting to talk. What say you, sir?
No, what's going on, everybody? I just had some questions based on what was said. It seems decently logical what 777 was saying. I think AFR is speaking of subjectivity in terms of a punch, right? It's too subjective for you to assume that a punch can't be deadly, right? And if you are in that environment,
that's just not usually considered deadly force in any court. That's what I'm saying.
Your conduct is I'm just saying that you can't just say it's subjective is the point, right? Based on the prosecutor, based on the judge, right? And this is from my anecdotal experience being in a lot of different court systems for different reasons. Now, also, if you're in that environment, if I shoot you in the back, I don't know where you run into. Because if I'm running to my car and I also have a gun, what happens then? So I think we have to consider like all the factors. And then one thing that sparked my mind is the Travis Rudolph case. That could be totally different, but he ran down to the car, shot the car up totally when the other guy with the gun had went the other way, as he said in his testimony. But he shot the car up until he saw that it was no longer a threat. And he got off in self-defense. Now that's Florida, so I understand. But just in terms of having y'all don't want to talk. Y'all don't want to have a conversation over here in this corner.
No, I do, but it's just that I wasn't able to really say much at all, and you're able to say at me, and I'm not able to respond because what you.
No, what I'm saying is you got to be more succinct. The shit is boring when you be talking, so you got to get it to more like 50 words. Whew. So there was so many things said, and we just dismissed what 777 was saying, but he was logical for once. We assumed he was going to come with BS, but he didn't this time.
Thank you, sir.
Go ahead, AFR. What's up, CT? How you?
I'm doing real good.
Like I waited like literally 2.5 hours to speak for the first time, so I was very patient and I didn't talk over anybody.
Well, that's your fault, sir. You should have just logged off then.
No, actually, CT was letting people talk, so this is his show. So anyway,
he waits 2 hours to talk.
Okay. Oh my God, 777.
And sir, listen, you got a problem with accepting that maybe your theory is wrong. Have you?
Shut up.
You're accepting that it's okay to punch a woman.
Shut up.
And Rock, you're a stoner with no life, so mind your business talking to me. I'm a man.
This is what I'm talking about.
Just because
This is what I'm talking
punches you
about.
I'm a
doesn't give
grown
them
man,
right,
Rock. Don't ever
a right to
disrespect me,
shoot
sir.
them. Especially shoot them in the back when you don't know if they're a deadly threat or not.
Smoke
if they're
a
running
bong,
away, they're no longer
Go
a
wash
deadly
your
threat.
hands. Go take a shower before you talk to me, sir.
Dude, I just
right.
got done working on my
Go ahead,
truck.
guys. Sorry.
Get the hell out of here.
Hey, look, 777. Hey,
You
look,
ever
hold
do
on.
any
Let
work?
me
You
just give
don't
me
ever came up 777. I
It's
bet
not
you like
about me.
450
Just talk
pounds.
about the
Look,
title.
hey guys,
Talk about the title.
what I'm saying is I'm not trying to be
law is the
anecdotal
law.
about what I'm saying. Look, the standard, a lot of places, that's why I was being general with what I was saying on the deadly force question, is because most places, a actual fist fight between two arguing parties, it wasn't like the man just came out of nowhere and started punching him. They were engaged in fighting words. Possibly somebody could say that. Yes, it was not justified for him to hit that woman. He was wrong. Of course, he was wrong. But there's a few problems with them going to shooting him. That's what I'm saying. Now, if it escalated past him punching her to stomping, that's justified. That's deadly force. Why? Because you can die from somebody stomping on your head. It's not that it doesn't happen as often if somebody punches you twice in the face and you just fall out dead. Now, if they punch you and then you fall and hit your head, that's deadly force. That constitutes deadly force. But as far as just a fight, that literally was just a fight, a fist fight. That she was in. Hold on, you don't want to you don't have to like me saying that, but it was literally a fist fight, not a knife fight. There was security boss. I'm just being honest. It was a fist fight.
A fist fight is when we are engaging in a fight. There was no fight. And what else?
I understand.
Let me say this one thing. You said deadly force. Deadly force is the power that he's hitting her with. Who knows what the outcome is going to be?
God,
he could have actually.
She didn't die. Security boss. Security boss. She didn't die. Security boss.
Both of you need to have more respect for this woman. Stop interrupting this woman when she's talking.
Go suck on a toe or something.
Stop interrupting this woman, please.
I know she didn't.
Have some respect for women, okay? Let her speak.
I have respect for women. I also have respect for the law.
Let her speak.
I know she didn't die. I'm not saying she did. I'm glad she didn't. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about his intentions, the force that he had to hit this woman. He was not looking for her to hit him back. So in his mind, that was deadly force. They wouldn't engage him in a fight. She never hit him. That wasn't a fight.
I understand, but look,
it's amazing, you
can claim. Hold on, security boss. You're kind of right, but once that youth went after him after the first shot, everything else goes out the window. Okay,
I'm not disputing that part.
So that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, in the first place, they were not afraid of this guy. Okay, because people that are afraid do not do what they did. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. They weren't afraid at all for their safety. They wanted just to engage in a fight, and they went to shoot the guy. That's it. They both. And the thing about all three of them are at fault. He was not protecting his mother. He was not really, quote unquote, protecting his mother. He wasn't. He was. Okay, look, we haven't talked about violence by proxy. We need to, even though a few guys have touched on this subject, already today. The main thing is if women, violence by proxy from a woman in and of itself is not evil. It's not bad. If somebody's brutalizing a woman in your family, yes, you have a right to defend them. Okay, but the difference is, especially if it's for women, our black women in our community, as we want it to be, that comes with conditions. And the main mantelpiece of that protect all black women mantelpiece is you have a black husband. That's where it starts. And I'm not getting on you, security, but I'm just talking about in general. This would have been avoided if one, she had a husband. No husband is going to allow their woman to argue back and forth with an unstable man. That guy was obviously unstable. She should have just literally, once it got to like them going back and forth, just like, I'm gonna go inside, and when my food is done or when that guy leaves, I'm gonna get my food. That's
so she deserves to get punched.
Nobody's saying stop. 777, stop saying that. Stop saying that. Okay, you acting, that's female logic right there. That's female logic right there, 777. So anyway, hold on, let me finish. I'll be really quick and I'll stop. So So that protection, so that's the first thing. She wouldn't even got to that level. The second thing is, if women want this protection, you have to understand these come with standards. And the standard for me to risk my life for a black woman that in my family, or I don't know, it has to be righteous. Okay, it can't be, oh, I just got out of my feelings a little bit, AFR, and I argued back and forth with him. He hit me, and then you came in and whooped his ass, and then something would happen and you in jail. You know what I'm saying? It should have been, tried to get out of there. He kept accosting me and attacking me, and then the man comes in and saves the day. That's a righteous fight. But anything else past that, you expose the person protecting you.
I think we've all heard.
So that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. There has to be standards. It can't just be willy-nilly. And and the last thing I'll say, how many times has a random man saw a man and a woman arguing, and let's presume they're a couple, started whooping her ass, the guy goes in, Mr. Save the chick, gets killed by the dude, and guess who takes off with the killer? The girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? This happens all the time. So nowadays, men have to be very careful and judicious being a good Samaritan, because it'll not only can land you in jail, you will die. And I'll land it right there.
Yeah, usually in self-defense cases, if you have an ability to leave, you need to leave, first off. Second off, usually if there is any force being used, you can go one level above that force. A fist does not transfer to a gun. It doesn't. I'm sorry. Another thing, a 14-year-old should not have access to a firearm. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you're at. A 14-year-old should not have access to a firearm, especially in a city where they don't allow firearms. Chicago is one of the places that they have the most gun laws in the country, and usually when there's two people arguing and a physical altercation happens, it's mutual combatants is what they're calling it in Chicago. That's why they have gangs running around shooting each other, and they don't charge anybody because it's mutual combatants. They both agreed to be in that altercation. If she should have had a little bit more of a head on her shoulders and understood there was a violent man in front of her and de-escalated the situation by walking away. By her standing there after she was already threatened, she agreed to the altercation. When her son shot the man,
she agreed to getting punched in the face. You sound like a moron. You sound like a complete moron.
When the child shot the man, he was in the right. Okay, because the child cannot take that from. There's no way for the child to defend his mother otherwise with a gun. I agree with that. But when the man started to run away, that's when it became murder. And we have to look at the whole situation. We can't just say, okay, he's right over here, so that means he's right over here. We got to look at the situation as a whole. And this is for everybody out there. If there is a deadly situation, yes, you can stop that deadly situation. But once that situation is over and you continue attacking the person, it becomes an assault on your part. It becomes murder on your part. Okay? That's why when somebody breaks into your house, you shoot them dead. You don't shoot them a couple times and then let them run out of the house and then go kill them in the middle of the street, because that becomes murder. The law is the law. We have to follow it. We have to understand that we live in the United States. We cannot have our emotions trumping law. That's what happens when we have these crazy DAs out here and they're not prosecuting criminals. That's the number one thing. That dude should have probably been in jail. He shouldn't have been out there. He's obviously that violent to attack an older woman.
It sounds like y'all blaming the female.
Yeah,
it sounds like y'all blaming the woman.
Well, unfortunately, the black women create the very monsters they don't want.
That's enough for you two interrupting people now.
And secondly, a punch can be a deadly force. I don't know what y'all. There's some people that can knock you out, stump on your face, and kill you.
Exactly. Stop interrupting. Stop interrupting this man.
What a punch!
If you are a trained fighter, your hands are deadly force. If you're a regular person, your hands are not deadly force.
In Florida,
your feet are. So if the person was on the ground and they started kicking them, that is deadly force.
In Florida,
because of the amount of energy you can expel in a kick.
Let him talk, Rock. Shut up, Rock.
No, I got my
let him
7
talk,
on
man.
tonight.
Shut up. I want to hear him.
In Florida, I'll tell you right now, if you a black man and you hit an old white lady and you punch and knock out, they will hit your ass with attempted murder. I promise you that.
Dude, get out of here, bro. Show me one case. Show me one case that happened.
Show you one case. Look it up.
Show me one case.
I'm telling you.
I'm talking on case law, okay? I'm talking
no, he is right. He is right because
let the woman talk.
Hold on, guys. They take in the totality.
Where a black man hit a white woman and he got charged with attempted murder.
Rock, he is correct in that regard because they take in the totality of the circumstances and the situation. So they do take into account a elderly woman that's more fragile you can die from an old person can die from a punch, and then also a younger person. So yeah, they take that into consideration. So he is right.
Running around playing the knockout
but
game.
Hold on. They take it into account as well, just like in this case where it's a woman in like maybe 40 something and a guy 32. Just a couple of punches. That's not usually constitute you're going to knock a chick out and she's going to fall over and die. So it's the same thing.
You're sick.
So can I mention something?
Okay. Real quick, guys. Real quick. I'm about to roll up out of here. Salute to the panel. Bob is going to take over for me. Security boss, thank you so much for being. Are you going to stay here with Bob or?
No, I'm getting ready.
No, I'm out of here.
I just wanted to say one thing, and I'm going to go to it's late. I was just going to say one thing chaotic, and I was going to go. I just wanted to go back and make this one statement because we were just constantly pointing to the fact that this woman was a single mother. I just remember in grade school, whenever someone would say something about a young man's
Fuck you,
mom,
Bob. Sorry, I had to get that off. Thank you. Fuck you, Bob. Good night.
Whenever someone would say something to a young man about his mom, he was always defending his mom. And this is back in grade school. So a man defending his mom is not anything new, and it has nothing to do with being a single parent or a single mother. It has nothing to do with that. Young men like I said, grade school have always defended their mom. And y'all have a good night, and thank you for being here. And hello, Bob.
But if the man's not in the house,
no, that's a son husband. Security boss. Security boss. That's a son husband behavior. I love you, security boss. I love your work, but that's son husband behavior. And last thing, there's something you said a long time ago. I did want to cook with you a bit, and maybe I can go over to your channel next time or whatever.
Go ahead and say it really quick. Go ahead and say it really quick.
The whole mentor piece about it's black men's job to go and help, since I don't have kids. We're not saying it's my job, but it would help the community if people, men like me would take the initiative, childless men like me with no records or whatever, and I'm functioning in community, go and help these wayward youth. And I'm like, normally I would be cool with that, but you have to take your own protection into consideration. And also a lot of these these boys, their fathers, that's their father's job. So that's the main thing, is their father's job. So it's kind of a disservice to say, well, things would be better if you would step up, AFR, to help these wayward men, when we're not even selling. Like, stepdaddy season is over. Black women kind of ruin that too. So, and I'll just say that. Sorry, go ahead, security boss.
But when you're making it a point, see, I'm totally solution based. The fact that you all mention these same things all the time over and over again makes no sense to me. I'm like, if we got an issue, let's put something in place. And you don't have to do anything I'm saying, but have some sort of solution to what your problem is. And if we're making a big issue about these kids that are being wayward, it's because they are single mothers that are raising them. There are a lot of men out there, and I'm not talking about single men. I'm just talking about men in general. Go help the women, or be mentors, or I should say help the young men, help mentor with them, change their lives.
Security boss, security boss, I feel you, but I would say my solution at this point is, young black man, get your passport and marry a black woman in Africa, and that's all. That's my solution.
Yeah,
but you do know a woman is a woman, don't you?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
But there's differences, but there's cultural differences between women as well.
I understand that, but the feminist movement is everywhere. So just because you go to, it's just happening. So you still have to pick a woman. Is my point. It still has to be
definitely, and it's more. And then I'm just gonna be honest. There's a higher chance I'm gonna find a non-feminist outside of America, like in Africa or Asia.
I agree with that, but still be selective. That's my only point. But that doesn't cure the problem that we hear all the time about the single mothers who cannot raise young men. It is real. It's a real thing. Mm-hmm. But instead of, okay, guess what? Those young men have fathers, right? We understand that. And whether for whatever reason, the fathers are choosing not to be there, the mothers are not letting them be there, whatever the situation is, there are some that we can touch and mentor and put them on a straight and narrow or a decent path. I mean, so, at least we can turn the conversation around and be like, yeah, but there are some that didn't have a father or the mother was raised by a single mom, but now they're doing this because we have this program here and, whatever, have some solution to what we're calling is a major problem, because otherwise we're all suffering because guess what? They're coming up in our houses now. They're not caring at all. The young people in Chicago, they don't care.
Well, I like to give you an example on why that this problem is not being fixed. We had a gentleman on here the other day that rallied or, petitioned the city council to not build a luxury apartment complex in the place of a old strip mall. Instead, he decided to have them make the old strip mall into community resource center type place. And now that place is still sitting. Instead of lobbying the city to, okay, go ahead and build the luxury apartments, but could we have 10% of those taxes that are coming from those apartments to have programs for these young children that need some sort of job training, right? Because I think that what is going to solve the Black community's problem with kids that don't have anything to do is teaching those kids some sort of trade where they learn a trade that they can make more money in a day doing a regular job than they can selling drugs, because that's what got me out of the streets. I did the math and I figured out that I could make more money legitly than selling drugs. And
that's why talk about selling dope is a trade.
Bullshit. I mean, my only point.
I sold pills. Hey, Snowman, we're gonna have to cook on that point because we Black Americans are the world's every race's storefront, so that needs to change.
Hey guys, let me read the super chat right quick. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
If a punch is deadly force, any ninja that assaults a police officer should be shot. Guys, if you don't mind, one of the things here, and we got all men pretty much on this panel, and I just been listening to this, and I can't believe what I'm hearing, but just casualness by which women have no idea what it's like to be a man and what a man sees. And
hey, salute to you, Bob, by the way.
Hey, Angry, what's going on? And the legal system that is constantly on our necks, that if we so much as spit in the wrong direction, we're done. Security boss, bless her heart, says, why don't you guys go out and mentor these young boys? Well, let's see. I could be accused of something that I did not do. I may have some money taken away from me if she goes to court. The problem is this gigantic bureaucracy that is against men. I'm bringing it up here just a little bit because I'm hearing the women talk, and the biggest divide I'm hearing is between men and women. The old man that left, I would have done the same thing. Why would I get involved? What makes her so special? Why would I put my life on the line? And if I had a wife and kids, you expect me to do that? Then I die, and then what happens to them? But women's morality is so personal. It's not big picture. They don't see all the pieces. And that's my rant for now. Guys, I'm Bob. I'm taking over.
One thing I've noticed about women is that their base for morality is it's on a basis of care. So if they don't care, they're not going to do it. And if it's something they don't care about, it's not going to be wrong. It's not on a basis of ideals.
Sure.
Men operate on a moral basis of ideal.
Right.
If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. With women, it's a matter of what they care about.
So thank you. Let me just get this out right quick. I dropped the link in the back. Guys, feel free to cam up and talk about anything. Let's keep the cussing down. Chaotic is still watching that, man. He has a sword over me right now and is ready to cut off my head, so I got to do well.
Oh,
You
Lord.
haven't spoken in a while. Angel,
Bob, can I say something on this?
John. Yeah, but when you talk, God, just no Christianity tonight, okay? Please. Is that possible?
No, Bob.
What's your problem with God, Bob?
I love God. It's getting late. You know, it's Monday in some places. I'm honoring that. We've
Are
done
you trying
God.
to control my speech?
John, go ahead. Let's baptize us in the name of logic.
I just want to make sure. Are you trying to control my speech?
Yes. Yes. As a matter of fact, I am.
I came up here trying to be respectful. You're going to insult me right off the back.
It's not an insult, man. I'm just trying to keep the train going a certain way. But go ahead. Let's hear God.
Bob's got jet lag. You must forgive him.
So
no, John, go ahead. Let me read this. Savage recovery, $5. Make the woman change their behavior and not have us clean it up. I agree.
So
go
the
ahead,
point
John.
the point that I want to make is about this story is I don't think so. First of all, I'm gonna say this: men, be intentional rulers. Always be intentional rulers. Never ever put yourself in a situation where someone's not going to if they're not following you, they're not following your order, your command. Don't attach them to yourself at all. Don't attach them to yourself. You have to be independent rulers, intentional rulers, and only take care of those people who follow your instructions. This woman deserves to get life in prison, and the son should go free. Because anytime you tell your son to bring you a gun and put him in harm's way, a 14-year-old boy, you tell him to go to the car, come out from the car, text him from the car, bring a gun so you can, and then allow him to shoot somebody. When all you had to do was, first of all, was keep your mouth closed. And the problem with the side we live in right now is you let women talk like they are men, and they don't recognize that you're putting yourself in harm's way. So the first thing she could have done was, okay, the dude was talking sideways. What you gonna do about it? She wanted a gun. She knew she had a gun, so she wasn't gonna shut up. She's gonna push the issue. I don't believe in gun control. I really don't. But in this situation right now, I think this could have been. I think we do. I think it's kind of started to change my mind. I think we do need some gun control because she knew she had a gun. She knew she could keep escalating, and she wanted to escalate. I don't feel sorry for her. Let her go to prison. Hope the son gets off, and that's I'll end my plan right there.
Angry Snowman, right quick. You just got on. Let me hear you. Angry.
Hey man, can you actually show the video, because I didn't catch the video? That way I have a little bit more context on what you guys are discussing.
I tell you what, if you scroll back, you can see it kind of in the early part. I have no control over that. Chaotic has the magic.
I mean, as far as I'm listening, it sounds to me like you guys have been having a discussion on whether or not men should be able to put their hands and defend themselves against women.
No. I would say that's a branch from the tree, but the original tree was.
You got to see the video.
Well, let me go back and watch the video. Give me about 5 minutes, and then
you'll be good once you watch it.
That way, I can come
Michael
back and
Porter.
give my
Michael
assessment.
Porter, I didn't say.
Hey,
I didn't say we for gun control. It's not what I was saying at all.
But hey, Bob, question.
Yes.
So if I seen you out in the street, right?
Yeah.
And you at a gas station late, just come trying to understand.
Okay.
And I see two people dog walking you, I would come over there and help you. Are you guys saying like I shouldn't do that? And I'm sincerely asking.
Are they men or women?
I'm saying you don't have to.
2 men. I'm
saying you don't have to, but if you want to, you have to understand the repercussions from it.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but it's saying like because John was saying something a little bit different. So I'm just saying, like, if I seen Bob, because I know him right from here, right? I'm just trying to put it in, perspective so that we all on the same page. Would it make sense for me to go help him? I feel like it would. Rock, if I seen you fighting two people, I would pull them off or something.
Listen,
is that wrong?
If I know the person,
should we not do that?
If I know the person, I will put my life down for them. I I've done it before, dude. I am that guy that I will flip the switch and I'll go 0 to 100 real quick if I have to defend myself or someone else, or even
no, Rob, but you didn't say it right. You didn't.
In distress.
Risky,
no, I got you.
Risky, let me give you this. Let me give you
Yes,
this.
sir.
And this is why I'm totally against people jumping in. Let's
Okay.
say they were beating me up, but they were beating me up because I had naked pictures of their daughter.
Mm.
Now you've come to help out a man who
Should be getting beat up.
right.
Should be getting beat up.
So I always say when you get on the scene and you see this, unless you've seen the entirety of the whole thing and know both people, you may run the risk of helping out the person that should get a beat down.
Okay.
I will. That's my only thought. But even
Hey, Rick, how you doing, man? Hey, DSPT, how you doing? Rick?
What's up, bro? How you, bro?
Doing good, man.
you guys hold hands later. Even if I knew that.
Oh, that's the second time. That's the second time you got to be sideways.
All right, it won't happen again. I'm sorry, sir. All right. Even if I knew all that stuff, though, I'm telling you, the legal bureaucracy is just not for you. It's just not. I can see myself jumping in trying to help a cop.
Okay.
But
so,
not to people I don't know.
So also, just secondly, in terms of mentoring, are we saying that it is like, not that it's ineffective, but it's like what are we saying about mentoring? So I do mentoring with like 100 Black Men of America, Omega Sci-Fi, and in different neighborhoods that we would deem undesirable, and I've seen some change. But you think it's too like micro?
I was giving pushback from the idea of what I thought she was saying is we need to go, an individual man, you might be risky, needs to go to an individual boy who's wayward and say, let me help you. Now you're dealing with an organization. Again, that has a lot of cover to it. That has some history to it. You have a lot of protection to it. There are things that are set up for it. But what I got from what she was saying is when I see a young brother walking down the street, not doing well, I should go up to him and say, hey man, let me help you out. And my thing is that is absolutely too risky. However noble it may be, you're endangering yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Angel,
Gotcha.
go ahead. Let me get Angel in right quick. You got Angel and John the Baptist on here. Christians everywhere. Go ahead, Angel.
If we're talking about men, it just like some people say that I'm not man enough for what I stand up for and how far I came. Do you see a particular kind of men having a house, having a dream career, or fulfilling the life that they've always dreamed of but can't seem to make it happen? The only reason why I bring this up is in the last almost 5 years, I've like done the impossible and the unthinkable that some people thought I was never able to do or like couldn't. Oh, he's never going to do this. Oh, he'll never make it in his life, blah, blah, blah. If only a 840 square foot mobile house is not an accomplishment, and me working at a shoe store as Al Bundy 2.0 there and working my way up to become management or supervisor is not an accomplishment, then I don't know what is, because I just got tired of apartment from apartment, and I just wanted my own personal property that I can call my own. People call cars and vehicles their own. Why can't like people learn to do what they can do to either save up or do the possibility thing to get the money for a house there, even if it's a $50,000 house, which was the cost. So it's just sad of how some men can put their focus and their dream for themselves and make things accomplished in their own lives without making it be a whole kind of agenda. Like I see plenty of black men have thoughts about black women or against black women and vice versa. And it's just sad of where we are at about this judgment of relationships in the black community. For those that understand where I'm coming from, then I am making my point, obviously. But I just am being. I have always had dreams, goals, and the thoughts of what I want to do with my life for the longest time, and I'm making all that happen bit by bit. I ain't in no hurry to get everything on my bucket list done in a short period of time in my life. If I want to get as most of what I can done before the age of 45, then that's my goal right there, is to accomplish with what I believe in. And people just need to believe within themselves.
I hear you, man. Al Bundy was a boss, but
yeah, and
he
married with
wasn't.
their
He was
children.
not. Al Bundy was not as good as you because Al Bundy didn't have any goals.
Okay, guys, it's $20 to get somebody off the panel. Just so you know, it's just a house rule. Let's keep the cussing down. The invite has been dropped. Angus, man, what say you?
Well, I only had one more thing to say before I head out, and that was regarding the merch lingo. Anybody that might have wanted to know where that comes from, I looked up besmirch in the thesaurus, and the synonyms for besmirch are all antonyms to the defining parameters of merching.
Okay, thank you, So Club.
So I'm gonna head out.
Take it easy,
all right,
Cyber.
let's see.
Y'all have a good day.
Angry Snowman, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I actually watched that video, man. That is something else right there, buddy. That was something else. Watching that dude just haul off and club that lady. You know, me personally, if I was a bystander, I probably wouldn't have got involved either, though. You know what I'm saying? I really wouldn't have. I probably would have turned and walked the other way. You know, because for one, it's not my business. You know what I'm saying? 2, I don't know what the context was beforehand. 3, I don't know whether or not that guy's going to pull a gun on me and try and shoot me. You know what I'm saying? 4, mind your own business. It's not my business. You know what I'm saying? It's just as simple as that. That's why a lot of people end up. That's why a lot of people end up in situations that are unsavory, because they stick their nose where it doesn't belong, trying to be quote unquote the hero or trying to do what they think is morally right. And to a degree, I understand that, but you got to also understand that sometimes you got to check your morals at the door, because you just don't understand what the situation was before you walk through the door. Now, as far as there's some mention about a 14-year-old kid going and getting a gun or something. Is that what that was? Did he end up shooting that guy or something?
Yeah, he shot him twice. He shot him once. Well, there's a lot of discrepancies, Snowman, because like here's what the problem is. For one, and I try to get Chaotic to play this video.
How many times did he shoot him so Snowman can continue?
Okay, well, he shot him twice. He shot him twice in the back.
All right. So the question is was the gun in the vehicle, or did he have to go home and get the gun and come back?
In the
vehicle. He had to go to the vehicle.
It was in the vehicle.
The mom had a CCW.
So this is my take on it. Look, you have a situation where we live in a society now where most men aren't going to get involved in any kind of domestic situation involving another man and a woman for whatever outside reasons. You know, a lot of them have to do with the ones I already listed. So the next person to step in line would be her son. If that was my mom and she was getting attacked by some man, that's where I would step in. You know, if I felt that I wasn't, physically strong enough, or that my mom's life was being threatened, yeah, I'd go get a gun. But see, I disagree with what Rock said earlier about why does a 14-year-old have access to a gun? The question is why doesn't that 14-year-old have gun safety and gun training? Because that's what it should be. It shouldn't be non-access. That 14-year-old should have gun safety training and proper gun training. That way he knows how to properly handle a gun and use it when it's necessary. Because you know what? I can't count how many different news articles and stories we've heard about where a 13, 14-year-old kid ended up saving everybody in the house because he had proper gun training, proper gun safety, and he was the only one there when the house was getting robbed. And if it wouldn't have been for him actually being the one to step up and take care of the house and be the man of the house, there would be nothing there, and possibly the other kids and people might be dead.
Let me say something.
I agree. Hey, Snowman, I agree.
Let me read this chat right quick. G Firm HT499, thank you. Hamp, love this. This might be risky show. Gotta let me on the panel and rock with you. Rifleman, go ahead right quick.
All right. There's a couple of, because see, this whole situation is really messed up, because a lot of the argument we were having earlier was what constitutes deadly force. People are saying your fists equal deadly force. They don't equal deadly force. and all this other stuff, and people weren't listening to me when I was trying to tell them I have a CCW, and like I said, I'm not a lawyer. Anyway, let me keep moving on. The main thing is we don't know if when he got shot the first time in the back inside the store, when he punched her, was he mid-punch the second time? Because he punched her twice, mid-punch the second time, or did he already finish the second punch and get shot in the back and then when he ran? So like there's a lot that we don't know. And I'm trying to tell people DAs take in the totality of the circumstances and everything. And people are just going off of he punched her twice, so he deserved to get shot and killed. And it's just
AFR, I'll say this: if I was a DA, and granted, I'm not a DA nor a lawyer, never been to law school, but just from what I've seen in the context and what I've been listening to in the discussion or on the panel, is the kid was actually defending his mom, and it looks like a self-defense claim. Honestly, it doesn't look like he did it out of malice or out of revenge or anything. He was literally trying to defend his mom and himself. He felt that their welfare and well-being was threatened.
Wait, guys, time. John, please, American Rifleman. John, I'll let you go here. But guys, if we could, please, we've been going back and forth on the legality of this and legality of that. And I don't know how much of us are lawyers and all that stuff. What I would like to focus on, if you don't mind, is just more the morality aspect rather than the legal aspect, because we can debate legalities. But the morality aspect, each one of you has your own sense of morality and your own sense of how things should be. So, John the Baptist, if you don't mind, I'd like to just turn the ship that way. I'll go around, but when you guys saw the video, I want to know what each and every one of you, what was your first thought? And please don't think about what was your first thought. What was your first thought when you saw this? This might be risky, please.
Yes, sir. I mean, me being in a similar situation, I would have said something, but you don't have to attack it like you choosing a side. You could just simply intervene. Yo, y'all straight? It ain't that deep. You talking about get her food? Just chill like that. You'd be surprised how effective that can be in these particular environments. Because I've been in these particular environments often. People just start shooting off to each other. I'm like, yo, it ain't that deep, bro.
So your first thought is to de-escalate.
Yeah, just because I'm already there. Like, so if this is my neighborhood, think about I gotta go there. My children might go there. My wife might go there. So foolishness, like we gotta intervene in some way. We don't have to be super duper aggressive.
Right.
But you could just simply go ahead. My bad.
Your first thought was to de-escalate.
Yeah, just de-escalate. You know what I'm saying? Not choosing a side. No, you know what I mean? But just de-escalate if you can.
American Rifleman, your first thought when you saw all this, what was your first thought? It could be something as odd as, man, she got some nice big ones, or it could be, what was your first?
Woman, shut up. He told you twice. He told you, just get your food. And it's, yeah, so what's his name had it right. The main thing is she had a gun. John the Baptist, she had a gun. She knew she had a gun. She had a son husband. So she didn't have any responsibility to chill out or just say this wasn't important. It's just, I'm going to keep it going. And if he decides to do something to me, I have the ultimate solution. And that's the problem.
Rock, go ahead. Thank you, American Rifleman. Thank you for keeping that concise. Rock, you go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of had the same kind of thought when I first saw it, because I think women need to know their place. They're not as strong as a man. They shouldn't be sitting up there arguing over a hot dog, especially when the man's threatening physical violence. And also, if you know you have a gun and you're trained to have a CCW, you understand that the first thing of any situation, you do not escalate that situation. Once you escalate that situation and you try not to leave, and you don't leave unless you're in the state of Florida where they have a stand your ground law. Usually everywhere else you're supposed to leave. You're supposed to get out of there. So she should have removed herself from this situation and understood hot dogs aren't worth killing somebody.
John the Baptist, what was your first thought?
My first thought is how much did she hate her son to put her son in that position?
Angry Snowman, you go ahead.
My first thought was, damn, she ate the crap out of that punch. Straight up, she took that thing like a champ. That was honestly my first thought.
So I wrote down, out of the five of you, the three of you said woman shut up, essentially. And Angry Snowman says she took one. Risky, you're interesting. You said de-escalate. That was your first thought. I noticed something here, and I want to say this, and this is why I think men should really be in charge, because we have the ability to see things sequentially and understand how each thing in a sequence of events plays a role. When I listen to the women talk, their thing is defend the woman, defend the woman. It's good that a man defended the woman, without ever looking at how did this thing even arise in the first place. Now, my personal thing is, I grant you, as a man, you got to hold your fist. You can't throw haymakers over words. You can't. But women have an incredible ability, however, women have an incredible ability to turn a man on. They just do. And I think she knew what she was doing on some level. If she did not talk, I'm not quite sure any of this would have gone down, unless the man was just being the aggressor, period.
I can almost promise Bob, if she would have kept her mouth shut and just got her damn glizzy and left, everything would have been, this would have been a totally different scenario. I mean, honestly,
I can imagine.
Most men, look, let's keep it real. Even some of the most violent men don't want to risk going to jail for a domestic violence over a glizzy.
I think
I can imagine that she started from the way the video started. I just know she said something off the wall crazy. He was responding to her.
Well, to a certain degree, I agree with Black God Monolith. I mean, it makes me wonder if they don't already have a past, some kind of relationship with each other, where this is a ongoing encounter, and he just finally had enough.
No, I don't think. I don't think that. If you watch the video, I don't think that's the situation. I think what happened was something happened in that line, and I think she said something, and he responded to what she said.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew each other prior to this encounter.
I don't think so.
But why would you want to set your own son up to possibly take the fall for a murder charge if this is just somebody you don't know off the street, just a random individual?
And that's why you do go back and watch the. I know you said you watched the video just now, right? Go back and I think it's 2 or 3 videos that came out. You need to go watch the 2 or 3 of them.
Go ahead, Risky.
Well, no, just
I don't
a
want
question.
to be mean or anything, but we can look at history, and ever since women have had the option to vote, the whole country's been going downhill, dude. And I'm not trying to sound a certain way or anything. This is the only thing that I can try to connect what is going on in this country to the problem, and I think it's women voting.
Risky, go ahead.
This issue is not about women voting though. This issue is about
it is. Yes, it is.
Well, no, hold on. You talking about, you trying to say this did not cause this today. That's not causation. That causation doesn't even line up to this situation.
I would say so. Yeah.
Now, what Risky said earlier, I actually said what Risky said earlier about de-escalating. Both, because I said that earlier today. I think both parties should de-escalate it. I agree with that, Risky. They should have done that. Both parties. I think the men should de-escalate it, and I think the woman should de-escalate it. But the woman had no reason to de-escalate because she knew she had a gun.
Well, something that's interesting to note, though, is the fact that, we live in a day and age where most women, they claim to want equality, equity, be on the same playing field, have the same, respect, and be seen the same as a man. But what's interesting is how quickly everything goes back to, traditional values and traditional roles once things start becoming chaotic.
Yeah, we're kind of backing each other here. We're giving each other fuel for all of us, and it's good. One of the things I've noticed always is that if you watch 2 men fight, each man knows that if they kick another man right between the legs, the fight is over.
That's not always true, Bob. That is not always true.
Well,
Let him finish the point, though.
Well, for well, at least for
me,
most
men hope.
If you kick another man in the legs, the fight is over. But if you do that, it's a dishonorable act, and men will look and say, you won the fight, but you didn't really win the fight. You lose your honor, even though if you won the fight. And I think with men, there's a sense of almost a natural rule set that we have when we're going to encounter each other. I don't think women have that. I don't think women see that.
Well, it's kind of okay. So if you understand how the world works, men can fight with honor and code and morals because we have physical strength to back it up with. A woman can't fight with morals because she doesn't have physical strength to back, so she has to fight. She has to fight in an immoral way. How's she going to fight fair?
Well, look, I'm going to say something that's a very unpopular statement, and I know most people aren't going to like this or agree with it, and it's probably going to trigger some people. But look, it's like
interesting statement, John. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, John, you make an interesting statement that the party that is not powerful has to act in kind of in a dishonorable way. I would argue, though, that the power that's not powerful has to not engage in fights in the first place.
Correct. That's why it's since the beginning of time it's always been an asset for it's always been a need for a woman to be attached to a man who can fight for her honor and value. He bestows his honor and value upon her because she really can't have it on her own. She can't defend her honor.
Angry Snowman, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, what I'm about to say is going to be an unpopular thing, but look, there's something to be said about the day and age when a woman knew her place and her role, you know, and I mean that in the most respectful way. You know, there's something to be said about, you know, when there was a day and age when if a woman got out of pocket, she gets smacked upside the head by her old man, you know, and I'm not trying to be facetious or be you know, violent or anything, but women have been given, you know, there's this fairy tale, you know, message that's been given to women and that has been sold to boys that you don't put your hands on females. Mm-hmm. Females should be allowed to do whatever they want, basically, without any kind of repercussion, you know, and I think that that's starting to actually become like a cancer inside women's heads to where they think that they can get away with anything and everything and that a man's supposed to just automatically, you know, go to his moral compass and understand that this is a woman in front of him and that he shouldn't come back with any kind of force. The reality of it is people are people, humans are humans. And if someone's going to sit there and keep poking the bear, eventually the bear's going to bite, you know, and we're selling this whole, you know, thing of selling that women should just be able to get away with doing these types of things and not have to fear any possible repercussion is insane, because then that's why we end up with situations like this right here. And that's why they seem so extreme, is because, you know, we live in a culture, like I said, you know, women are princesses, they're queens. They shouldn't, you know, you're a man. If you were really firm in your masculinity, you wouldn't have to put your hands on a woman. We'll say that to the dude that, you know, that was defending himself by a woman that was trying to stab him up. You know, say that to a dude that was trying to defend himself because some woman, you know, was taking a baseball bat to him, you know, or a frying pan. At what point do we sit and say, you know, enough's enough and a man has the right to actually stand up and defend himself?
We got a new person.
Lisa Jane just said violence is certainly not needed. Only a woman can say that, because men understand how the world works, right? If you understand how this world was built and constructed, the society was built and constructed, men had to be violent to make this world safe for you.
I think she's talking about violence in relationships, though.
Okay, even in relationships, okay, we talk about physical violence, or
that's where she's
so
going.
If it's physical violence, I'm sorry, go ahead, Bob.
No, John, I didn't know that you practice Islam on your woman every now and again.
No.
But I know Lisa. I know Lisa very well. She's talking about physical violence.
But Bob, question.
Okay, if it's physical, I don't support physical violence on women, but I'm saying this. I thought she meant there was like, maybe I read that wrong. I thought she meant there was no need for violence, period.
Risky, go ahead.
So just so I'm clear, is it because she should have shut up because she's a woman and she can't beat a man? Or is it because she didn't have a perceived physical advantage? So do men understand that if I don't have a perceived physical advantage, should I shut up too? Is that the logic? So like if it's like, let's say it's Andre the Giant, right? Mm-hmm. And he yelling at me in the middle of the carry out. Should I shut up? Like, is that how, like, is that the lot? I'm just trying to understand because
would you shut up? Or would you risk your health against Andre?
Hold on, guys.
Would you risk your health against Andre the Giant? I mean, you're a man, you think logically.
Hold on. Let him get the question out. Go ahead.
Because Angry Snowman just said humans are humans.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to understand, like, how do we communicate this to people, right? So they make a better decision going forward. And Bob, lastly, just a comment. The Bible actually supports what you said, Bob. It literally says if two men are fighting and a woman comes and hits another guy in the nuts, they're supposed to cut her hand off. So
that must be Leviticus or something like that. How do we enforce that? You said, how do we?
Well, yeah, like what's the
teach?
Yeah, like so, like what's the is it like if I perceive somebody have a physical advantage over me, should I shut up too?
I think
that's your risk.
It would be the prudent thing to do, but I also think that well, not these young hoppers now, but generally, I think men who are bigger than other men almost find it dishonorable to pick on a guy that's smaller.
You think so?
Well, with these young hoppers now, I don't know. And when men are trying to compete and get women, yeah, but there's no sense of. I mean, you're gonna beat up a guy that's smaller than you. I mean, what? How does that make you look?
So I don't think let's not even just focus on the size, right? I think what Bob is saying, I think you kind of hinted at this too, was I think men should calculate, no matter how big you are, how small you are, you calculate the risk.
Sure.
So if Risky walks into a room, Risky look like a stocky fella. he don't mean he can fight. But we assume that he can.
Right.
Yeah.
That guy's a fast sometimes.
If I look at Bob, Bob doesn't look as stocky as Risky does. Now I may look at the two, and Bob may actually knock me clean out. But it's the risk that we take. We calculate, we move, we make decisions based on what we see. If the risk, we know when to back off because we have experiences. We know what it feels like to get punched in the mouth.
That's true. But so second part, Bob, if you don't mind. Go ahead.
If you can make it quick, I want to get Rifleman in here, and then we got a new person
Yeah,
here.
anybody can answer. Anybody can answer.
Yeah.
So now is the judgment the same if the big guy whoops on a little guy as it is a woman?
No,
it's not. Because it's two men. It's two men.
Okay, and we're not gonna look at it the same because he's a man regardless, right?
Yeah,
it's two men.
No, we still might clown him because he knew he could whoop his butt, and there was, you know what I'm saying. But other than that,
but it's also a risk to look at. It's also the risk to look at can knock him out too.
Yeah. A lot of the time, from my experience, most of the people I've ever fought were bigger than me, and they thought they could pick on me because I was smaller. So just necessarily size doesn't really matter much. It's the dog and it's the fight in the dog, not the dog in the fight.
Rifleman, go ahead. You've been waiting.
Most of the time, if somebody's bigger than you, they're gonna win. And then also, it might sound harsh, but yes, women need to shut the hell up when a man you don't know, if he's acting crazy or if y'all getting some verbal stuff, is you be the bigger person and shut up. You know why? Well, bigger moral or bigger intellectual person. Because more than likely, even if the man isn't bigger than you, his muscle mass is bigger than you, or he has more fighting experience or something to where in Mortal Kombat, he has some innate advantage, not innate advantage, but some big advantage over you because that's just how we are. And you just have to accept biology, women. So nobody's saying, yeah, women, shut your mouth. You know, you should be seen, not heard. And we trying to come back and take our masculine. No, that's stupid as hell. What I'm saying is men are still dangerous. Men are still crazy. And to protect yourself, shut your mouth and don't argue with a random man and walk away. That's it. 9 times out of 10, you gonna be good, girlfriend. Complain about it later, but don't be all up in some dude face saying you're gonna, don't do it, man.
Yeah, let me clarify what I said also. That's exactly what we're saying. We're not saying that from a derogatory term, like women don't deserve a right to speak. We're talking about it from a perspective of this is how men think. So in every situation, you need to assess that situation and figure out how you're going to come out on the other side of it, depending on what choices you make. If you're going to sit up there and talk back to somebody that is arguing over a hot dog, then you're really putting yourself at risk over a hot dog. I mean, come on
now. Point taken. We have a new person on the panel. I don't know, a new person. I don't even know what your name is. Are you a man or woman?
I'm a female. My name is Queen Sunky. How you doing?
Is this 777?
Mrs. Queen Sunkiss. How y'all doing?
Okay.
No, this is Sunkissed.
Who's this? Who's Sunkissed? Sunkissed, go ahead.
I just saw y'all talking about this particular subject, and I'm just taking it all in. But I watched the videos, and I feel like he absolutely deserved to lose his life, and that's what was ordained by the Most High, because he had no business putting his hands on that woman like that. The woman was not confrontational with him, and if you go back and look at the video, the point in which he balled up his fist to hit her was when she instructed her son to go back to the car. He thought that she was talking to him. That's when he balled up his fist and pulled it back and told her if she didn't sit up, he was going to knock her out. Also, there is a video that the Chicago Police Department put up. There is no chasing him out of the store and shooting him. So a lot of the news stories are incorrect and wrong. That man was absolutely out of line. And women should not have to feel like they have to shut up to be safe when all she's trying to do is feed her child. That's ridiculous that she had to go through any of that.
Sunkissed, I have one question for you. How long are your fingernails?
Oh, I don't have fingernails.
Oh, you don't? Okay. What color is your hair?
My hair is black. I'm natural.
Natural black. And you keep it black?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Oh, great. Thank you. Point taken. Mr. Putin? God help us. Vladimir Putin, are you there? Okay. Guys, last thoughts.
What she said was just.
Wait, why do you have an axe?
Huh?
Why do you have an axe to grind?
I don't have an axe to grind.
Some questions.
I don't have an axe to grind, but one thing I'll say is the only reason why I'm having this is actually my training axe I train with. This is actually isn't a real one. It's made by Cold Steel. It's a Chinese one. But anyway, Chinese hatchet. But anyway, I was doing some deadly force scenario stuff earlier to try to educate her brother. He didn't want to listen. But anyway, what she's saying is the reason why we're having these arguments. Okay. Now, like I said, we need to get these statements from the district attorney and say initially like what they've said about this case and go off of that. That's the first thing. So I keep hearing people from the local area debunking the news stories that came out, you know, and I saw a press conference with the district attorney as well, where she was laying out why they arrested the woman. And it wasn't because it was because they said she texted her and all that. So unless the DA literally said a whole bunch of lies in their press conference, then I don't know what to say about that. So the main thing is she's saying he deserved everything he got and all that. He actually hold on. I'll let you cook. I'll let you cook, sweetheart. Look,
but if you gonna
hold on, she didn't physically confront him, but she was confronting him with her language. They were both going back and forth with each other, so it wasn't random. That's number one. So she felt the need to go back and forth with a man that literally said, "Get your food, get your food." Now he did misinterpret what she said when she was talking to her son or whatever, but before it got to that, she should have bounced, and that's all I'm gonna say. So he didn't deserve to die. He didn't even do deadly force on her. And plus, how do you explain the 2 holes in his back?
Easy. Her son saw his mama being attacked and he shot him.
So he shot him in the back twice right there, and then he ran out.
I didn't see no run out. That's the thing. If you look at the clip put out by the Chicago Police Department, which was the surveillance that was at the restaurant, there was no man running out. Her and her son left out together, got in the car, and they left. That man did not run out. The news stories are not telling the truth. And there is also other trails that you can follow to verify this information. But honestly, to find out the whole truth, we just gonna have to wait to find out what happens at trial or if they take a plea deal. But I highly doubt anybody's going to jail for murder, because that man had absolutely no reason to punch that woman in her face. She was not confrontational with him. She was not in a confrontational stance. Her arms were close to her body. She didn't put her fingers in his face. She didn't do any of that. She was simply talking to this man, and this man was very violent toward her. He punched her like she was a man into a corner.
Oh, I got you. But one thing I do have a question. Okay, so he did punch her.
Guys.
Do you think that constitutes deadly force? So if somebody punches a police officer in the same manner, do they deserve to get shot and killed? Say if a black person attacks a white cop like that, does that black person deserve to be shot and killed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Sunkiss, thank you very much. Sorry, we're cleaning up here and gonna.
Well, thanks for having me up. Y'all have a good evening.
See ya.
Thank you, sir. Kids, come back.
Rifleman,
Come
you
back
said your
around
piece,
here,
man. You got anything else?
Just once again,
no.
This situation just shows black folks don't have regard for the law. That's it. If they would follow the law, that young man and that woman would be sitting in their house right now. But we have no regard for the law. We have no want to learn. She broke all types of rules, and look where they at right now. Their lives are changed forever.
Point blank. Period. Thank you, brother. Rock, you got anything?
Yeah, man, I think people need to start really thinking about the repercussions of their actions. And a hot dog is not worth a life. No day of the week. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what situation you're in. You shouldn't be risking your life or anyone that you care about life over a hot dog. Get out of line. Go back to the back of the line. You know, this world's so racist already. Why don't you just go with the flow, man? You know, you're going to sit up there and argue with the dude that's threatening you. Be honest. Let's put ourselves in her shoes.
No.
Right?
Rock, we don't have to do that.
I wouldn't deal with that dude. If I really didn't want to have a confrontation, I would have walked away. But that's what women don't do. They don't know how to walk away. They know how to escalate and escalate and escalate because they know everybody's going to be on their side. So they think they can get away with murder.
I'll probably see you tomorrow, man. See you tomorrow, Rock. Snowman.
Hold on. Yeah. Look, man, it's like this. It seems like we have an issue with just people in general. It seems like what I find interesting, and I'm sure you could probably agree with this, Bob. It seems like the folks that are going around that always claim to be the most inclusive and forgiving and understanding and this, that, and the other always somehow seem to be the same ones out causing the most ruckus, the most violence, the most commotion, and the most chaos.
We agree.
You know, which is an interesting irony, to say the least. You know, truth be told, I think both parties are at fault for this. You know, both parties have involvement. Both parties have fault in it. Both parties each one of them could have done something differently to cause it not to escalate to someone losing their life over a glizzy. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple. At the end of the day, someone lost their life over a hot dog.
Yep.
Which is crazy. You know, that's absolutely asinine. You know, so all I'm saying is to everyone else out there, maybe think about things before you react with an emotionally, quote unquote, moral stance on it. You know, sometimes the moral stance isn't always the right stance.
Couldn't agree more, man. Thanks, brother. See you around.
Yes, sir.
Angel, go ahead.
Yeah, my final thoughts, and also to what you were asking about people's first thoughts or impressions of when they first saw the video. I was like wondering what started it all, and why didn't anyone come in to stop it from getting worse than it did there. And it's like I said earlier, if I would have intervened, there could have been two scenarios. I could have helped prevent the situation. Or if I did, and it was a case of where I would be sucker punch, and I would have to defend myself against the person attacking me, I would still be called a villain in any which type of way in today's society. And what the Snowman said, he's like completely right. Wasn't worth of that person losing their life over a hot dog or whatever like item that you feel is most comfortable for that you think is a priority. Like I was watching a episode of Customer Wars on A&E just recently, and in the midst of that episode, there was a feud between a cashier and a black chick, and the black chick misunderstood something of what the cashier said and started a feud fight over a donut, and so much so that the customer had tossed the coin tip jar to the side and took a pot of coffee and doused the employee over the counter with it. And imagine if people in that little scene of that episode that I saw had stop things from getting as bad as it did in the same scenario as the Chicago incident. And that person was let's say have some type of weapon, that probably would have been more deadlier because of all the people in that video that I saw there. Obviously, I'm annoying you too much there, Bob. It's like you are covering my head as though you can't take much more of me. And I understand you want to silence me all that you can there.
Were you done? Is that
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, buddy. John the Baptist.
Yeah. My final thought is this. I don't feel sorry for the woman. I don't feel sorry for the man. I pray that he was right with his maker before he took his last breath. And I hope that when this woman stands judge on a trial, that she gets what's deserved to her. But what I want to say about this 14-year-old kid, from what I heard so far, that he spent 14 years in Chicago, never got in trouble. It seemed to be a pretty good kid. For what all I heard about Chicago, that's amazing for this kid. And I would and so for him to get in trouble in this situation because his mom told him to do something stupid, we have to stop putting our kids in terrible situations as parents. If this kid made it 14 years, was a pretty good kid from what I keep hearing, you now got your son and dealing with the police officers because of something that you decided to do. And this is what's sad to me. Leave our kids alone. Give our kids a chance to succeed without the parents put in a position to lose. That's my final thought.
John, let me just say too, right quick. I swear, you are, man. Man, you throw cold water on a strip club, man. You always have good stuff to say, man. You always make people think. All right.
Cool.
You always take down the fun. I was giving you mess about being the Christian thing only because I know it's deep to you, and I happen to be Catholic myself.
I got you.
I really respect that. I heard your thoughts on Aaron O. They were great, and I'm with you. And I don't. At first, I thought the 14-year-old should have done some time. I'm not so sure now. So, hearing your pontificate on that in the other show and this show really made me think about that. So it's a pleasure.
Nice talking to you, Bob.
Talk to you, man. And guys, that's it for the Chaotic Truth Live. Thank you, Crazy. That's it for the Chaotic Truth Live. Lots of super chats. Thank you for all that stuff on behalf of Chaotic. Yeah, so that's it. That's all we got. Chaotic is doing a lot of these long streams now, and they're really very, very good. I must say so. But guys, great job to all the mods. Thank you to all the super chat people. I definitely want to thank you. Again, it's been a lively stream, interesting subject, one that can go on and on and on. So many caveats to it. I think we hit as much as we possibly could. And with that, guys, we're going to sign off. We will see you. Let's see. What's today? Tomorrow's what? Monday? Yeah, so Chaotic should be on tomorrow. Time is moving so fast here. All right. We'll see you guys. All right. Great job. Bye now.